Westeros!
And welcome to our Morning Throners podcast.
I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Kyle.
And we are your Morning Throners. And welcome back to another episode of your favorite Song of Ice and Fire podcast. We are your Morning Throners, and we got Samwell 4 on deck. Gentlemen, how we doing?
I'm mad at myself on this one. I feel like this was such a layup. The fucking Aemon's gonna die in the goddamn boat. Like, why didn't I fucking say that? I feel like I didn't say
I forget what you predicted. Did you predict that he wouldn't make it?
I was like, oh, he's gonna make it.
Oh, you said he was gonna get to Old Town, I think, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I feel I try to take a long shot, but everybody dies in these books. I was reading it. I'm like, man, why did I just say he's gonna die? Everybody's dying. Like, what's it matter?
People say that, but there's not that many like characters Aemon or above that die. Like Robb and Cat are like probably the most recent like big characters, right?
Yeah, big characters, but like all the lords of like the Riverlands and shit, everybody's dying. Like like so why not him? So yeah, and he's 100 years old or 102. So like of course this dude died. Yeah, I mean that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, this might be more of a Nelson question, but was there? I'm trying to think back to the last Samwell and. Aemon wanted him to go to the docks to talk about dragons, right? So there might have been, like, there was a very small little egg that could have hatched into you thinking that he was going to go further east.
I thought he was going to make it even when they were in White Harbor or whatever. I thought he was going to make it back then. I'm pretty sure I never wavered from that. I could be wrong.
Aemon really wasn't in too bad of shape until the last Sam chapter.
I mean, when they sent him away, they kind of knew it wasn't going to be good.
Well, first Sam chapter, he's normal Aemon. Second Sam chapter, they're on the boat. I don't really like that chapter. It's kind of boring. The one important thing is it's raining really bad, and Aemon's like, I want to feel the rain on my face. And Sam lets him sit on deck until Sam doesn't notice. Whatever, right? He falls asleep, and he's just basically sitting there in the rain as an old blind guy on a ship. So that's kind of when things start going downhill. But that's like the end of Sam 2. So last
you heard
Sam
here
chapter,
first. Sam killed him. Nelson said Sam killed him.
I think I argued this last time. Sam could have done a little better taking care of Aemon in the Bravos one. But yeah, the Bravos is really where he starts kind of the first that we see him really going downhill.
He got a second wind. We learned in this chapter he got a second wind. It was just a rough ride.
Yeah. So did you like the chapter, Carl?
Yeah, I mean, it was all right overall. It was I didn't love the Sam and Gilly part just because it kind of felt treaded on a little bit with the John. So we'll get there, but... Like, it kind of felt like rehashing another...
John was in a cave.
That has one of the most famous or infamous lines in all of Game of Thrones.
I'm sure it's something about her sliding on him or something.
Her mother's milk?
The fat pink mass. People love this line.
Okay,
love in the same way they love the mirror swamp, and that it's a really weird way to describe something in a sex scene. People in general don't love George's sex scenes.
I gotta say something just because from reading comments from last chapter... You know, we didn't love last chapter, and I do.
Hang on, we're 2 ahead. So you're talking about Jaime. The last chapter was Cat.
Okay. So 2 chapters away. You know, we were all like, it was kind of redundant, and some of the fans were like, man, that was such great dialogue. And I felt a little bad doing this because like I'm not reading for the dialogue. I'm kind of reading for the nuances right now. I'm trying to read between the lines here, and when you give me too much of that. That's what kind of like turns me off. And I'll apologize to our fans, and maybe I'm not doing the dialogue justice, but I enjoyed this one. Again, it was a quick, nice pop read. I think it was 15 pages. I think there is some of that, like, what the fuck is Aemon talking about in this chapter, where you can read between the lines.
Yep.
And I think, maybe you don't like that, Gilly and Sam got it on, but I think it's interesting for the characters.
It's not that I don't like that they got it on. It was that I felt that we already went through the whole oath breaking thing with John and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
I forget. Ygritte.
R.I.P.
Yeah, but that whole, like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I understand Sam's a different character, and I understand it ends differently too here. And, but yeah, it just felt like that part I need. To see another person go through but what about my vows? You know, that whole situation. Like, it felt like that was a rehash. Sorry. I guess you're right, though. Maybe I'm not reading it for the same as other readers, and they enjoy it.
And, like, I would say and again, I'm reading it for the second time, but it was so long ago, I'm basically reading it for the first time in a lot of ways. Like, the dialogue, like, maybe you like the dialogue a little bit more, but it seemed like you didn't in the Jaime one, which, whatever. Everyone has their own opinions. But.
Yeah. I think we also said in the Jaime one, like pretty early on, maybe like at the 10-minute markish, or maybe even before that even though we all said like, oh, I don't like it, that I think Jeff even said like we normally have when we do the chapters, we normally have the opposite effect that we did when we did the show. When we did the show, we're like, oh, we love it. And then we're like, wait a minute. And we kind of realize there's some plot holes as we go through it. It's kind of the opposite here. And I think that's kind of how the Jamie one went. So I'm thinking that some of those people might have commented early on in the chapter, and by the end, they probably realized we liked it. But yeah, we're straight shooters. That's how it is.
I'll say this chapter, we learn a little bit, I guess, like,
I think a lot of the stuff Eamon says is really interesting.
Eamon dies. Eamon says some crazy shit, and then Sam, gets drunk and gets it on. Like, that's pretty much the synopsis. And other than the Eamon shit, I don't think it's that deep. I don't think we'll be here talking about a whole lot. But
I agree. But the Eamon stuff, I do think there's some nuggets in there. So let's get in there. Where are we at, Kyle?
I don't. They're in the ocean somewhere down by Dorne. That's all I really know.
Off the south coast of Dorne. Yep.
In the Cinnamon Wind. Xondo got us on board. We got a lot of Summer Islander names, some cool names.
Yep. So I mentioned this at the end of the last Sam chapter. Basically, Xondo had saved Sam from drowning, pulls him out of the canal, ruins his cloak in the process. They mentioned that here. And then Xondo basically says like, oh, I heard you asking about dragons. I know about the dragons. We've never seen Xondo until the last Sam chapter, but we have heard of his ship, the Cinnamon Wind. This showed up in Karth when Dany was in Karth. And basically, it's the one that brought her the news of Robert's death. Kohoro Mo, the captain of the ship, literally, we saw him before in a Dany chapter. So it's kind of interesting that we see the same character again from Dany and Sam now, and the people that like kind of brought the news to Dany are the ones that bring the news of Dany to Aemon, right? And we kind of get into that quick. It's not like a rumor at this point. Like we're talking to a guy who was in front of Dany, saw these dragons with his eyes.
Two things. I mean, I guess you're right. One is to exemplify or to,
if you believe him,
amplify what you were saying. That, like, yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like, the shipping is definitely the news, right? Like, the people, the traders, like, are the ones traveling back and forth. So they're the ones that are also going to bring that information. Like, who else has this information? Yep. The other side of it is still a little bit of a rumor, right? Like, I mean, sure, this guy was there and saw it, but like, it's one crazy boat, right?
If one person says it, it's still a rumor.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe there's still reason for Sam to not believe it to be true is more of what I meant, I guess, by that statement. It's
sure. I guess we've heard of dragons before, right? Like we heard of dragon talk in the Old Town chapter at the very beginning of the book. I think Cersei's heard of dragon talk that she kind of dismissed pretty early. And every time it's like, oh, there's sailor talk down by the docks. But that could be like, oh, Xondo told somebody who told somebody else who told somebody else. And then that news is getting to Old Town, right? Like,
imagine how it's changed along the way.
Exactly, telephone, right? And I think we've heard some of the she drinks blood or like Dany is like a crazy evil witch kind of in some of these stories, right? Because it's probably bouncing through.
There was Robb Stark was riding his wolf into battle, right, and eating people.
I mean, she did give milk to those dragons at some point, which was really weird.
Yeah, but I think to your point, like how like I think it is interesting that it's firsthand because yes, the shipping is how news gets around, but I think how many hops it takes till it gets from the source to the destination is. Like Jeff saying, that's where the telephone game gets introduced. But yeah, so they're on the ship, Cinnamon Wind, full of Summer Islanders. Xondo is like the first mate. He's the guy that had saved Sam. We only really hear of two other people from the boat.
Koja,
pretty cool name. She's the captain's daughter. She seems like she's
a badass too.
Yeah, maybe like 20-ish, not too super young, kind of tall.
Sounds like her and Xondo are kind of partners, or at least
it's interesting.
They might just say, "Hey, somebody died. Let's go diddle."
Yeah, we'll get to that later because she's like, "Yeah, Xondo was celebrating last night. I would have been with him." But it's like, okay, well, that's not a. Was he celebrating by himself, or?
Yeah. Oh gosh, no. I would say no.
Were you going to be part of the party?
I don't think they care about it like that.
It's just whoever pick somebody. Yeah, I kind of agree. And
if she was available, he would have definitely picked her. They have that understanding.
That's true.
But she wasn't, and that's what you do. So. Yeah, that's how I read that. I didn't think she was mad.
Yeah, so Sam is saying the words for Aemon's death here. It's pretty much the funeral, but it's not a real funeral because we learn later that Targaryens have to get burned, and they're not going to burn him on the ship. That's pretty fucked up. I mean, I guess it is what it is, but...
Yeah, I want to get Kyle's thoughts. I feel like this is one of the chapters where things get rolled out in a weird order. Right? Like, we don't hear that Sam has actually been working on the ship till towards the end, but he's talking about his blisters and how sore he is early on and stuff like that. I
didn't mind it.
Okay.
I kind of figured that out.
Because I know sometimes it makes things confusing to read through. And me, obviously, I know that Sam was working on the ship. I know that Aemon's dead. So, like, we kind of get in here with he was a good man. We don't even know who Sam's talking about right away, right? He does say his name as part of the eulogy, but for the first couple sentences, you might not even I guess 2 sentences.
Who else would have died that Sam was talking about?
Yeah. One of you guys want to read this eulogy? It's only like a paragraph, and I'll get choked up if I try and read it. So
no, I want you to try.
You'll get choked.
Sam does get choked up at the end. So
please,
okay.
You'll get choked up about it. Let's go.
No, you're not.
He was a good man. No, he was a great man, a maester of the citadel, chained and a sworn brother of the Night's Watch, ever faithful. When he was born, they named him for a hero who had died too young. But though he had lived a long, long time, his own life was no less heroic. No man was wiser, or gentler, or kinder. At the wall, a dozen Lord Commanders came and went during his years of service, but he was always there to counsel them. He counseled kings as well. He could have been a king himself, but when they offered him the crown, he told them they should give it to his younger brother. How many men would do that? Sam felt tears welling in his eyes, and he knew he could not go on much longer. He was the blood of the dragon, but now his fire has gone out. He was Aemon Targaryen, and now his watch has ended.
I mean, as soon as he said sworn brother.
Do you need to mute the mic a bit for a second? You need to take
a little bit in the
breath?
throat at the end. No tears are coming, but come on, Aemon's a goat.
He's like
we know you love
105
the
years
book.
old, man. You gotta.
I love this guy.
Yeah, that's fine.
It is sad that you find out that he really wishes he could live on, but
Well, especially you
know
guys
this
know
is
I
one
have
of his connections to Duncan Egg. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
You guys know I love Duncan. He talks about Egg and the Tall Knight. That's one of the quotes later on.
it had to be, Sam's probably a cousin of.
They're all related.
Dunk,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Uncle's banging everybody. Everybody's related to Dunk.
Yes, that is the one note that I pulled from the eulogy that he gave up the king for Egg, which.
Yep. So that's the younger brother who he gave it up for, exactly. Yep. And I also just like that, and now his watch has ended. Normally, sometimes they say, maybe it's just a show thing, and we shall not see his like again.
Yeah.
Does that
I haven't seen
sound
that.
familiar, Jeff?
It's definitely rings a show bell, but not book bell.
I feel like we've only ever seen one eulogy before, and it was actually another Night's Watch one. Maybe we've seen like a Tywin one, but it was when they're on the way back from the Fist of the First Men, and there's the guy who dies, and they burn him, and Sam's like, damn, he smells like pork, and Sam's mouth is like watering.
Yeah.
I think Jorah Mormont does it, and he's like, he came to us from... Where'd he come to us from? And someone's like, down White Harbor way. And he's like, he came to us from White Harbor. But I think in that eulogy, he's like,
Didn't know the guy.
and now his watch has ended and we will never see his like again. But that might just be a show only
That's
thing.
for the show. That is not in the book.
Because I think that guy's name was Bannon. Bannon does not seem like the kind of guy we would never see again. Probably Bannon's a dime a dozen.
So
Criminal.
Right,
Yeah.
right after the eulogy, Zondo's ready to party, brings up a cask of rum. That's how the Summer Islanders do it. They get the rum out, and then by the end of the night, they're banging. But you got to drink first. Drink to the man.
First time Sam's ever had rum. Kind of likes it.
Rum has to be there's got to be a link to piracy, right? Like being on a ship. Like,
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
alcohol on the boat, but also rum is like a very Caribbean thing, right? Like it's sugar. And so, like,
you need to have sugar to.
I mean, we go to Jamaica a lot. There's rum.
Right.
Appleton rum is like Jamaican rum. Like, I mean, it's a thing that they make there. So that's kind of what the Summer Isles, right? That's got to be like Caribbean, right? Like that's kind of the idea here. So that makes which pirates of the Caribbean.
Sure. Yeah.
We don't have to go down this rabbit hole, but it's weird. The map we have of Westeros, basically Southern Ireland is like south of Dorne. They're kind of off towards closer to Essos, not really south of Westeros, but they're south. What's interesting is it seems like it's even more tropical there than in Dorne. Mm-hmm. So we only know of the top half of the. So
if there's an equator.
If there's an equator, right? Like,
I know what you're saying.
On a world, normally it goes cold to warm to cold. We only know that it gets warmer and warmer and warmer as you go south, which is people always talk about what's west of Westeros, but what's south of the Summer Islands? Yeah,
Southos is down.
What's south of Southaros? Yeah.
There is a Southaros or something like that, but
what's south of Southaros?
Too big of a rabbit hole.
We don't got to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. Sam wishes he could have gotten to Old Town. He really thinks that they could have saved Aemon there. Doubtful.
Doubtful. Yeah,
they still have a long trip to go, right? Like, if they're at where I think they are in Dorne, right? They're right at like the boot tip, kind of.
Yeah, they're far east side.
I'm thinking kind of in the middle because later she's like, you can swim to the coast, but it's going to be thousands or hundreds of leagues either way to the closest port. So, like Sunspear is kind of right off the southeast tip. So I'm thinking they're kind of like near the desert.
So they went around the corner a bit.
Yeah.
Like they're pretty far on their way to Old Town. Yeah.
I'd say more than half the way is just getting past the Stepstones, right? Getting from Bravos down towards Dorne latitude/longitude. I forget which one height is. Latitude, I think.
Longitude.
Longitude.
Long.
Yeah,
Come on, dude.
Getting down to Dorne longitude. But yeah, he thinks he was like, we could have got him to Old Town. Old Town Citadel's best healers in the world. He could have made it.
Yep.
And on Bravos, now we think back to literally the next couple pages, like 3 or 4 pages, are just Sam thinking back to Bravos and then the trip up to where they are now. So we're all this is all past at this point. We're jumping back to basically the end of the last Sam chapter now.
This is one of my favorite parts because it's just Eamon getting all fired up about Danny, and then we start talking language stuff, which I don't know.
Eamon goes off here. He loses me.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. Like even right in the beginning, he starts talking about the gender of dragons, right?
Why don't you read this one, Jeff, and then we'll talk about it.
No one ever looked for a girl. It was a prince that was promised, not a princess. Rhaegar, I thought. The smoke was from the fire that devoured Summerhall on the day of his birth, the salt from the tears shed for those who died. He shared my belief when he was young, but later he became persuaded that it was his own son who fulfilled the prophecy, for a comet had been seen above King's Landing on the night Aegon was conceived, and Rhaegar was certain the bleeding star had to be a comet. What fools we were, who thought ourselves so wise. The error crept in from the translation. Dragons are neither male nor female. Barth saw the truth of that, but now one and now the other, as changeable as flame. The language misled us all for 1,000 years. Daenerys is the one, born amidst salt and smoke. The dragons prove it.
Just talking of her seemed to make him stronger.
I must go to her. I must. Would that I was even 10 years younger.
Yep.
Poor Eamon.
So Kyle, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, like, it makes sense, right? Like, they just were looking for a dude. So they, like, made it fit somebody else. The prophecy fit somebody else. Because, like, we've talked about in the past, for sure, like, a lot of these prophecies can fit so many different things. And you kind of shoehorn them in to make them make sense. And people do that shit all the time, for real. Like, I'm not saying that's just in the book. But, so, yeah, like exactly. So here he's kind of like, oh, now we've kind of unlocked another key of like the answer, you know, like, and they're getting a little closer. It's got to be Danny. She's got the dragons back. I'm an idiot. Dragon people or dragons are neither male or female. Like we shouldn't never realize, like never been so set on it having to be a boy, is what he said.
Yep. And so
I got a couple questions for sure. Which I think are safe for Kyle to be involved as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is good for Kyle to be involved. Basically, I want to know, do you remember anything about the specific prophecy we're talking about here? I guess the name that Aemon gives it, and we've heard this before, is it was a prince that was promised, not a princess. We've heard this phrase, the prince that was promised before.
For sure, I remember that. Like the words, the prince that was promised. I don't remember who said it or whatever.
I think Melisandre uses a lot for Stannis.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's interesting. Melisandre kind of uses...
Probably where you hear it the most.
And I this is something that the fandom, again, thinks a lot. We're getting to the end, so we're just kind of pulling Kyle in on it. There's kind of these two different prophecies that are talked about as if they're different, but then they seem to be used interchangeably, especially like in the things like the salt and smoke that I think Aemon mentions here as part of the prince that was promised. We've heard that as part of another prophecy as well that, again, Melisandre kind of seems to use interchangeably, which is Azor Ahai, right? And Salladhor Saan had told Davos of the story of the original Azor Ahai, who like tempered this sword 3 times and ended up stabbing his wife, and then has this flaming sword Lightbringer.
Aemon even talks about it later. Like he even mentions the sword later and stuff.
But he doesn't mention Azor Ahai, right?
But I mean, that's what he's talking about, though.
So it's not clear. Fans debate this. Is Azor Ahai and the prince that was promised the same thing? Most people think yes, because Aemon and Melisandre both seem to use very similar like language around both prophecies, and Melisandre even seems to use them interchangeably. But it's something that isn't. It's kind of confused.
Explicitly
right?
said. Yeah.
People think that like the prince that was promised is like a general hero archetype, and Azor Ahai is like the Valyrian incarnation, right? We've heard Bran talk about the last hero who like went north during the first long night with like 7 men and a dog or something, and he ended the long night. So maybe like what the rest of Western people call the last hero, the Valyrians, so Targaryen people, call Azor Ahai, and the Southern Islanders might call it something else, and the Dothraki might call him the stallion that mounts the world, right? And that's not quite, doesn't seem exactly what that guy was. That guy was just going to take over everybody. But
it's definitely a thing that happens in real life with real like culture and stuff, right? Like a lot of people kind of, that it spreads organically but differently.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
go ahead. So, yeah, keep going.
That's the main thing I wanted to just in general say is at this point we should be trying to think about those mentions of those two, Prince was promised and Azor High, is the same thing. And I have some of the quotes we've heard of them that I can go through real quick, but Jeff said he had some questions which might kind of cover the same thing.
All right, first one.
I also want to say that while I remember hearing thoughts of these words, I'm not going to be able to tell you who said them, and I'm not going to be able to tell you who they said them to. Like, I can't pull that back.
I got all the quotes.
That's why we're here, big dog.
It's been so long. So yeah, I was going to say this is read one. So like, while I understand what you're saying and the gist of what you're saying, like I can't pull this stuff out. So go for it, Jeff. What are your questions?
All right, Nelson, who the fuck is Barth?
Barth he mentions it later. It was a Septon who served. No, it was a Septon who served under King. This isn't gonna be anything to you, Kyle, but he served under King Jaehaerys the First, who was the king before Viserys. So the old king at the very beginning of the House of the Dragon. Yeah. And he studied dragons a lot. So during that time, dragons are around and a lot. And he wrote about dragons a lot. So there are books by Septon Barth that we want to find and stuff like that.
I just picked that up as I read the quote. I'm like, wait, who the fuck is Barth?
Because what does he say about Barth? Right? He says
Barth saw the truth of that, but now one and now the other.
That dragons their gender could change. Yep, yeah. That's what he attributes to Barth.
All right. So the biggest thing I have about this passage is the comet, right?
The bleeding star.
The bleeding star, because we realized in the second book that there was a big ass comet that was mentioned for about 50 chapters in a row, which showed up, I'm assuming, when the dragons were hatched, right? You're with me there?
Seemed to be around then, yeah.
Seems like there was another one that happened on the night that Aegon was conceived, though.
So what the fuck hatched when Aegon was conceived? Where's there,
You think that every time a comet goes past, a dragon hatches? Is that what you're surmising?
It's the only one I've seen until this one now pops up. It's like...
I think Jeff was saying the other way around. Not that the comet going by causes dragons to hatch, that dragons hatching cause a comet to go by.
Yes, I'm saying it's an
He's
effect.
saying where was a dragon being hatched on the night that Aegon
I'm saying what the fuck actually happened when Aegon got conceived.
I think it's weird as fuck to attribute it to the conception date, not the birth date, first of all.
Weird too,
I have a problem with that.
Why?
Like, there should be a comment on the day that Aegon was born, not on the day that Rhaegar... There's no way they know the day that he was conceived unless they're not having sex that often.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's true.
Everything
around the conception of Aegon is all right, but still, a red bleeding star showed up. So
one sec. On that point, maybe Rhaegar saw the comment, was like, "Oh shit, this is part of the prophecy.
I gotta go get this."
Yeah,
thing
maybe
going.
they didn't have sex that often, and he was like, kind of waiting for it. I never thought about that before, but I think that's possible. Go ahead, Kyle.
Why do you assume that every time a dragon is hatched that there's a comment? Can I ask that question?
I will. I don't know.
I feel like that's a big assumption to be making.
I feel like everybody saw this first red comment from A Clash of Kings, Nels.
No, it showed at the very last chapter of Game of Thrones when Dany hatched the dragons. Yeah.
Okay, so everyone just started was going nuts over this. Like it wasn't a normal thing that like this red bleeding star. Everyone had a fucking say about it, and it was like a crazy phenomenon. So the fact that there might have been a second just kind of raised my eyebrows to like, wow, okay, so some kind of phenomenon, whether it's dragon, like, is it another phenomenon? Was a fucking kraken born on the Iron Islands or something, was something going on somewhere that caused this red comet, the bleeding star, to come? Or is it just a dragon? And if it is just a dragon thing, where the fuck is the dragon?
Or it's just a comet that shows up every 150 years.
Yeah, and it couldn't be that long because it's not that far.
120 years. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Rhaegar would have only been 20 years ago or so.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then every 20 years. I'm sorry. It could be something like that. I don't know.
Sure. I think another reason, and I like it too. I'm not saying it's a knock against you. I think another reason Jeff likes the dragons equal comet, commons equal dragon thing is because Jeff's right. In Clash of Kings, everyone and their mother had an idea of what the comet meant. Some said it was Lannister crimson. Some said it was the blood of somebody else.
It was a good omen for everybody almost. Yeah.
Yeah, but the only who said it was dragons? It was one person besides Dany's crew.
Was it Bran? I feel like that would be a Bran thing to say.
Well, not Bran, but it was Osha. Yeah. I think Bran basically told Osha, here's what all the people of Winterfell think it means. Okay. And Osha's like, nah, fuck that, boy. There's one thing that means. That means dragons are back. And I think Jeff was like, fuck yeah. It does. Jeff loves Osha, her magic talk.
The old god people just know more. The other thing, too, is that, what else happened? An unexplained occurrence during that time was that all the magic kind of came back in the world, right? So, I don't know. I'm just thinking, red comet equals weird shit, and there was a second.
I'm not saying you're right, but we don't know enough to say you're wrong. And it's one of the things. This again, we're getting to the end. This is one of the big theories.
Obviously, there's not a dragon. It would be a grown ass dragon by now if there was a dragon. But is it more a philosophy? So my thought was like maybe Aegon, baby Rhaegar's baby, actually was the prince that was promised, and then he got his head smashed in, so he couldn't be. Like,
so the prophecy can
so the
shift,
prophecy changed type of thing. So it's like,
'Cause
all
it
right,
wasn't
fuck, we got to
fulfilled.
find another Targaryen.
Final destination shit. I like that. Yeah.
I like the thought we're on, and also fans taking this quote that we just read from Aemon. They take this to mean that the prophecy, again, we never really get like, here's the prophecy word for word. We get people talking about what they think fulfills the prophecy. But it's clear that he's like Jeff was saying about Barth, dragons are neither male nor female. The error crept in translation. Some people take this to mean that whatever the prophecy is about, we think it's about a person, but actually the prophecy is about a dragon. And most of the Targaryens take this to mean as like, oh, it's a Targaryen.
It's yeah.
Right, not a real dragon, but like we've heard
Okay,
Targaryens
dragon
call
blood,
themselves
yeah.
a dragon
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
right? Like Rhaegar was the last dragon.
Maybe it actually has to be fucking Rhaegal.
So I think some people take what Aemon says here as the error crept in translation, dragons are neither male nor female. Is there some prophecy about a dragon hero? But because the prophecy is using the dragon pronouns or whatever, they always just assumed he. But now that she's like, holy fuck, there's a Targaryen female out there. She's a dragon. And the dragon pronoun is like gender agnostic, right? That there isn't one. So she actually fits into this prophecy. We just never thought about it before because we live in a sexist society, right, where men are the ones. But I think that's kind of and I don't know if I believe that, but I think that's what some people say that he's saying here. Other people say that the vocabulary just applies similarly to people in the old Valyrian tongue.
I'm going to say one more thing. I now believe that the prophecy is like Thor's hammer. Whichever Targaryen is worthy can yield it, and I'm saying it was from baby Aegon.
Jeff thinks the prophecy shifts. If it doesn't get fulfilled, it moves to the next.
Yeah,
that's fair.
To the next.
I mean, why not? I think you might have lost me in your explanation there, Nelson. I'm sorry.
Nope, you're good. This is something that we'll definitely circle back to and have our own episode on after we're done with the whole book series.
I might be recapping what you just said, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But I think, the way I read it was like, yeah, that the prophecy for so long, everybody just assumed it had to be a boy because it was the prince who was promised. But if you actually looked at it in their language, because did they have a different language as well? Is that another?
Valyrians do.
Valyrian.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. So yeah, in Valyrian, this dragon thing meant both, like you were saying. So yeah, I guess it is kind of saying that the part that you led with the fandom thinks this. I agree with that. I guess what I'm trying to say. I think that's what he's saying here. It's like we didn't realize that this could be a boy or a girl, and here it is. It's probably a girl.
What I was saying is a small distinction. Imagine there's a prophecy that says like there was a dragon that was born amidst salt and smoke, and then
but I don't think that's the word that they use.
Yeah.
It's prince or princess. It's not dragon. They just now. This is what I was going to say before you get through the whole thing, and I then argue it. The prophecy I don't think said a dragon was born amidst salt and smoke. It's a prince/princess was born. So who was the royalty at the time was the Targaryens. That's why I think it's.
I think I agree with you. I think I'm telling you, some fans think that the prophecy is literally talking about a dragon as like a caricature, and that's why Targaryens just assume that this means like us.
Well, I think in Valyrian it probably was a dragon.
I think they assume it's them because they were the prince and princesses of the time.
So is Marcella. Marcella's a princess, right?
Okay. I'm not opposed of you throwing into other.
Sure, but I don't think Aemon would ever go for that. And I think the fans think Aemon would never assume any prince that's not a Targaryen counts because the prophecy uses language that's specific to dragons, which makes us think that because we're dragons, it applies to us and nobody else.
But that's also his prophecy, like the one that he heard, which is kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where some of these prophecies spread out among cultures, right? So Osha's prophecy or Melisandre's prophecy, it's the same, but it's different.
No, I think I agree with you guys. I was just trying to explain that some fandoms think that this prophecy is literally like talking about a dragon character. I agree with you guys. I don't think it is, but
when you say a dragon character, you mean like a dragon, like one of Dany's three dragons?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. No, I don't think it's talking about a dragon.
Or at least the language never says prince or princess anywhere. But it says dragon or something like that, or the dragon prince or something.
I think
the
Valyrian one was probably dragon, meaning the Targaryens, but then it got translated to prince and princess in common because, like Jeff was kind of saying, they were the prince and princesses.
Yes, exactly.
And so then That's what happened. It got bastardized.
I think that's a good parallel. Is you guys might not remember, but Mira tells Bran a story, and the story itself doesn't matter, about like when one of the Kranich men went to this tourney at Harrenhal. But when she does, she describes everybody as like the Wolf Maid and the Shy Wolf and the Quiet Wolf. I think some people think that the prophecy was told in that manner, where it's like, oh, there was the Dragon Prince, and he went out and he saved the world against. But because of the way it's told like that, like it's not gendered. You know what I mean? And it makes it. But I agree with you guys that no, it's probably clear that it's about a person, right? Like or whatever. But again, I think we're going too far down this rabbit hole into Amanda. I think you guys understand what I'm saying.
One last question, else. Make it as quick as you can. Where is this prophecy stored at? Right, like I know the show has taken it.
We don't know.
Okay, so
what
it's
do you
just
mean?
So like
it's a show question. It's a show question. Don't worry about it.
Okay,
I know what you're getting at. We don't have to talk about it.
Yeah, I'll change it. You know, in Harry Potter, there's a whole hall of prophecies.
I don't remember that, but so what I would say about if like story, I think it's word of mouth. I think it's something like that.
Yeah, okay.
That's the way it's like cultural.
I didn't know if it was. I don't remember if there was a book thing. I knew it was completely separate than the show, but like Harry Potter literally had like I wouldn't put it past one of these weird religions.
Oh, I know you're talking about the orbs.
The orbs,
they smash them all.
Where
Yeah,
then they
I
fucking
remember,
like read it to them when they smashed it.
I guess that's not a huge spoiler. In the show, there's an item that has some of these words. Like there's like there's an item that says like the prince that was promised. Blah blah. There's a few other words. I don't want to get too much into what it says.
Yeah,
but there's
you don't have to.
You're good. Yeah, you're fine. That's good enough.
All right, so we find out Sam had to give up his sword and the sheath, the scabbard, right, and his books to get passage.
Pretty much everything he had.
Yeah, he got to keep his boots blacks and his small clothes and the broken horn.
Yeah,
which is probably pretty important, actually. I feel like that was something that like he was sent to study and stuff, right? Like that was one of his most valuable items.
Well, I'll say the interesting thing about it is it was found with valuable items. It was found with a bunch of dragon glass.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like it feels like it should be pretty important.
I think it seems more important because we've seen some important horns recently. But yeah, Sam's just like, I got this broken horn.
Yeah, well, we're biased. That's fair. Yeah.
I guess I'll hold on.
I'm not saying you're wrong though, but yeah.
All right, so we find out that the trip was a bumpy, stormy one, and that took its toll on Eamon. He did go out on deck once, but for the most part, he was in bed. I think the cool part was, for a while, he was trying to get passage to go east and actually get to Dany.
Yes.
But he gave up on that dream pretty quickly. And told Sam that it was now his job to convince the Maesters that the Whites are at the wall, tell them what they saw,
Yeah.
Use your words.
Well, yeah, he kind of forgot about all the prophecy stuff at that point, right? Like, I guess he's an old man, right? Like, that's just kind of what happens.
I think it ties in, Kyle, in a way, which, Nels, if you want to say in a way that's
all I was really going to say. They don't really, I mean, he didn't talk about it in the first quotes up till now, but like the prince that was promised saves the world from what? Like and I can go back and then touch some of the quotes that Melisandre's talked about, claiming this is Stannis, and she's basically saying like, you're going to save us from the other, from the cold that never ends, from the darkness, which seems similar to what Aemon has been maybe not physically experiencing himself, but hearing about at the wall from like the Fist of the First Men and everything. So
I guess what he even Sam says it though, where he's like, yeah, he kind of switched back to what he used to be saying.
I don't think we made it clear what we're talking about. Basically, Aemon says you have to tell them, Sam, at the Citadel, tell them about the Whites and the White Walkers. Like, but at this point, Kyle's saying he's not really talking about the prophecy anymore. Yeah, and I think Jeff's kind of right that he kind of slightly is, but he says something like, my writings to them must have seemed like I'm a crazy old man. Like they're not gonna, like, me being there is not gonna help. I don't know anybody. Like, you're as good as me at this point. So
yeah, and it does then draw right back into the prophecy with saying like Stannis isn't the guy, right? So I do think that's the point, Kyle, is that, and I think Aemon right now is believing that the princess that is promised is here to banish, to like destroy the Whites, to destroy the others.
That they need her.
Yeah. I don't know if Aemon thinks that that's really important for the Citadel to be believing the prophecy, but they do need to believe that there's a problem to deal with right now.
Yeah, so he gets into like disproving why Stannis isn't that guy. Or no, he just starts jabbering on about the prophecy. He starts jabbering on about his brother's dream, and then Stannis not the prince, right? That's the kind of, which I think the first two ones, obviously we did a number on the prophecy, but his brother's dream. He had a couple brothers. Which fucking brother are we talking about?
Well, interesting. We've seen one of his brothers have dreams.
Right. Daron, who gets a mention here.
Exactly. Yeah. So I do want to read this quote, though. Kyle, you can read this one.
The prophecy, my brother's dream. Lady Melisandre has misread the signs. Stannis has some of the dragon blood in him, yes. His brothers did as well. Rael, Egg's little girl, she was how they came by it. Their father's mother. She used to call me Uncle Maester when she was a little girl. I remembered that, so I allowed myself to hope. Perhaps I wanted to. We all deceive ourselves, what we want to believe. Melisandre most of all, I think. The sword is wrong. She has to know that. Light without heat, an empty glamour. The sword is wrong, and the false light can only lead us deeper into darkness, Sam.
Yeah, so pause there for a sec. This is interesting. So Aemon says that when Stannis came and Melisandre, basically what he's saying here is when they showed up and Melisandre was like, he's the prince that was promised. He's like, Aemon's like, yeah, I had some issues with it. The sword was wrong, but he did have some dragon's blood in him, right? Which kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. Aemon thinks that whoever this is, the prince that was promised, better have, there's got to be a drop of Targaryen. That's why Stannis doesn't count otherwise. And I tricked myself into believing this is true because the way Stannis did get the little bit of dragon blood he has, and I've mentioned this before, is because his grandma was my niece. And it's cool. He goes into the sentimental as Egg's daughter. She used to call me Uncle Maester, which that, again, I love Egg and the Egg connections, but I think it's interesting that, to me, he's tying this. He's saying, I've deceived myself into believing it could be Stannis, and part of that is because he actually has dragon's blood. So I think that's kind of like interesting that he's like, I tried to fool myself.
Well, yeah, for sure. He's definitely attributing it to Stannis or to dragon stuff, for sure.
And the other thing is, he's saying that Melisandre is making the same mistake.
I think he's saying that she is...
I don't think it's the same mistake, no. So I think it's a little bit different of a mistake.
That's kind of my question for Kyle.
I think the mistake is the same in that she's misappropriating the prophecy to the wrong person, or like misfitting. You know what I'm saying? Like she's got she's got an octagonal or maybe like a whatever shape with more sides is and a circle hole, so they kind of fit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's got a lot. It's like almost there, so she's just wedging it in.
My problem is what Aemon says is the sword's wrong, an empty glamour. She has to know that. So he's basically saying, I think the sword, it seems like what Aemon's saying is the sword's my biggest problem, but I kind of was telling myself that didn't matter because I wanted to believe, we all want to believe.
That there was a prince.
Melisandre, though, the first time we see Stannis pulling this sword out of the burning seven, they're burning the seven
and
gods.
The father, probably.
On the beach. And he's pulling it out of one of the statues. It seems like Melisandre had something to do with him, like getting his hands on this fake sword. So I think
100%. Yeah. I think she set it up.
Sure, but so when I said, is this the same thing as she deceiving herself? And Jeff's like, I think it's different. I think a lot of people would claim Melisandre knows he's not the prince and is faking it. Like, how is she lying to herself if she set this up? Like, where's the sword?
The question is, like, why fake it, right? Like, if you're
faking part of it, how do you actually believe it? Yes.
Right. Right. So I don't think Mel believes it, but my question to her is like, you're going at pretty long lengths and doing some pretty crazy shit with people to like fake it. Like,
yeah. And maybe if she didn't believe that the North was actually like there was a threat from the North and we were just trying to back Stannis and give more reasons why Stannis should be king. That way I can elevate myself to power. But like, that's not what Melisandre seems. It seems like when she learned that, hey, there's some shit going on up North, she was like, no, this is what we're for. We have to save this.
This is why we're here.
Yeah, she definitely has a mission.
Yeah. So I do kind of see where Aemon's coming from. Like, and to your point, she's throwing so much effort into Stannis is it. And if she believes that there's a big problem, like, why would you fake that? Wouldn't you be looking for the real one?
I think she's lied to herself about the sword, maybe, right? Like she wants to believe, so she's like, I can make a flaming sword. Like this is the sword in the prophecy. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe she truly believes that she created this magic sword. But like he's like, underneath though, she has to know that wasn't good enough, right? Like this sword from the prophecy is stronger than that, right? Like or Azor Ahai, that sword was stronger than that situation than just burning a bunch of gods and pulling this sword out that makes fire. But that's the way I kind of interpret that, I guess.
The other part I have with Mel is like, if we believe that she has good intentions, right? She saw Stannis through the flames, which like, okay, you saw him through the flames, like you can't prove anything there. It's like,
I think she has self-serving intentions as well, though. She might have good intentions somewhere in there, but I also do think that she's in it for some power too, Nelson. Back to that statement.
Well, I think it could be not even like in a bad way. It's just like, it's kind of like how every person in the story saw the comet and thought it was what they wanted it to be.
Exactly.
Maybe Melisandre sees visions in the fires and just like,
Yeah.
She's not looking for truth. She's looking to attribute it to her own belief. It's almost
She's
like
lying
real
to
life with
herself.
people like in the echo chamber, right? Everyone just like sees some shit online and spins it their own way to make them feel good, even though it's not really what the story's about or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, Kyle, continue with the quote, Kyle.
Daenerys is our hope. Tell them that at the Citadel. Make them listen. They must send her a maester. Daenerys must be counseled, taught, protected. For all these years I've lingered, waiting, watching, and now that day has dawned and I am too old. I am dying, Sam. Death should hold no fear for a man as old as me. But it does. Isn't that silly? It is always dark where I am, so why should I fear the darkness? Yet I cannot help but wonder what will follow, when the last warmth leaves my body. Will I feast forever in the Father's golden hall, as the Septons say? Will I talk with Egg again, find Daron whole and happy, hear my sisters singing to their children? What if the horse lords have the truth of it? Will I ride through the night sky forever on a stallion made of flame? Or must I return again to this vale of sorrow? Who can say, truly? Who has been beyond the wall of death to see? Only the whites, and we know what they are like. We know.
Yep. So interesting, because not only the whites. We know at least two other people. Maybe three.
Barristan.
Barristan.
Cat. Not Barristan. Barrick. Is it
Barrick,
Barrick?
yes.
Yeah, sorry. These names
I
are
thought you
too
were there.
close,
I
man.
thought-
I'm sorry.
knew
Yeah, I
who
was
you were
right on
talking
it.
about. I was just making sure. The one that I thought you were actually going to throw out, because I feel like you love throwing this name out, and I love it because I feel like most book readers forget about this guy too easily.
The
Patchface.
Drowned God? Oh, Patchface too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like you throw out Patchface all the
You
time.
do
and I'm
remember
never.
Patchface. Nelson definitely brought up Patchface to me. I'm like, who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah, Kyle always remembers.
I
him.
love Pat. I feel like he has a key somewhere in
There's
here. and
something going on with
yeah.
Patchface for sure. Yeah.
I have a question before we get into the Danny part of it. When he was thinking of the daughter Rayla, is that her name?
Yep.
Rayella, or whatever
Rayella?
it was. Yeah, something like that. You're
And he was like, she made Aemon think at one point. What the fuck, Aemon, did she make you think? Were you gonna leave your? Do you know that part? Do you see it?
no, I think he's saying like
So I'll tell you what I thought reading this part, and I'll try to
you're gonna
find
have
it.
to read it and tell us.
I thought he was talking about leaving his vows to then go have kids.
You got to
No.
find this quote.
No, so he said his brothers did as well. Raelle, Egg's little girl, she was how they came by it. So he's saying that Raelle is how Stannis got his dragon blood.
Yep.
Stannis
yeah,
and
keep
his
going.
brothers.
And then he's like,
Where she used to call him Uncle
yeah.
Maester.
And so what he's saying is that, man, he remembered her so fondly that he wanted this to be true for her. Is the way I kind of read that.
Hang on. So I allowed myself to hope. Perhaps I wanted to. We all deceive ourselves. That's what you're talking about, Jeff, right? She used to call me Uncle Maester when she was a little girl. I remembered that. So I allowed myself to hope. Perhaps I wanted to, ... We all deceive ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. I understand. I
You got
connect.
a
I'm connecting
dirty,
the dots.
fucked up mind.
No.
What do you-
I
say it,
thought he
Nelson.
wanted to have kids.
Oh, I have kids. I thought you meant he wanted to diddle his
No.
niece.
No, I thought he was like, oh shit, Egg has
Gotcha.
a really
Well,
cool.
they are Targaryens.
Egg has a really cool daughter. Like it's
Yeah,
awesome seeing her. You know, she's calling me Uncle Maester. It's really
That
cute.
makes
Like
sense.
maybe I want to have kids.
Yeah,
But
that makes sense.
I get it. I see the connection of I want to believe it for her that he was the Stannis.
I
was
want to
the
believe
guy.
that Stannis could be.
I get it. I get
Yeah.
it. I think it's cooler if he wanted to have kids, but it's neither here nor there.
Yeah, back to what we were saying. The whites are the only ones that know, but not really. Barrick and Kat also know. Any thoughts about this, Kyle? Like, we've like Barrick has kind of given a little monologue to Arya about this.
That is fucked up, right? Like that is that.
He's like, I
monologue?
can't remember. He's like, I couldn't get back to my own house if I wanted to. He's like, every time I'm a little bit
Yeah,
less of
this-
myself. I
yeah.
can't remember. I was betrothed to a woman, but I couldn't tell you her name or the color of her hair. Right,
Yeah.
like these types of things. Like I'm less of myself every time. Barrick's a unique one too because it's been he's been
I
there
mean,
a
Kat's
lot.
in some pretty sour state last we saw her too. So
Well, Kat was there for a while. Yeah, Barrick's been there beyond the Barrick's taken many trips beyond the veil, but Kat was chilling behind the veil for a while.
oh, maybe that was her problem. Yeah, is that she died for so long. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, exactly. She was floating down a river for a while.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't have anything to say about that. I guess like how would he know about them? I guess is.
No, yeah, I don't think he would. I just think it's an interesting thing to think that, like, I think that's very pointed at the reader. Oh, like, who can say truly who has been beyond the wall of death
Okay,
to
I
see
got you.
only the
Yeah.
whites? I think that's George
we're
like wink,
actually
wink.
no, you know other people like have been. Okay, that's
Exactly.
fair. I got you. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
The other thing is we were kind of saying like Melisandre. I think an interesting question, and I think both of you guys, but I'll ask Kyle first. What if tomorrow, or one of the first chapters in Dance with Dragons, I think it's fair to say we're not going to get a John chapter in Feast of Crows. What if in one of the first chapters of Dance with Dragons, Melisandre learns of this Dany news? Is she dropping Stannis like a bad habit? Because
You don't think she knows already? You don't think they've heard a rumor?
I don't think so. I think it was probably like Cersei heard mid this book and they went north.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe again, I think like
Yeah, why would it go to
she could be
him?
learning about this mid Dance of Dragons. So I think it's an interesting question.
Yeah, I'll let Kyle go first, and then I'll say my.
I guess
Yeah.
I would say like, why would that even go up there? Really, like Melisandre and Stannis.
There's 3 dragons.
I don't want to
I
say
think
they're
that's
that.
big-
Yeah, I
big
guess that's
news.
fair.
That's big
Okay, I got
news.
you. I got you. That should be not dragon. That should be realm shaking news kind of thing. Headlines for everybody. I got you.
And I didn't go through and read the quotes, but one of the big things that Melisandre keeps spurting as part of this prophecy is we will wake dragons from stone. Right, that's
Yeah.
part of her prince that was promised, Azor Ahai prophecy.
Yeah, and I guess Dany's eggs were kind of stoned beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah, Melisandre
Bingo.
thinks stone dragons, right, from Dragonstone, because it's literally made out of stone dragons. We're going to kill Edric Storm, and one of these things is going to come to life. But you're right on what the fans think. Exactly, Kyle. So, yeah, does Dany fit this prophecy? And if Melisandre hears about some of the shit that Dany's been up to, does she...
When you say what the fans think, do you mean that you don't agree with that? You say what the fans think.
I think he's saying general
You're saying,
population.
okay. Like,
Kyle's saying, do I not agree with that?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want to make my position known on this, because we
Okay,
do learn
that's
more
fair.
about this in the next
okay.
book.
Cool then.
I'm gonna say that it can't get over the gender thing. Would be my guess.
That's true. Okay.
The prince that was promised is what she's going to argue.
Yeah.
She doesn't know. So I guess it's interesting
I mean,
that
Aemon only just figured that out, like right here, in like his weird fugue state before death.
and he only figured it out with the news of, hey, there's a Targaryen female out there. And he's like, you know what? That might fit. Another interesting part of this quote that he says, for all these years, I've lingered, waiting, watching, and now the day has dawned and I am too old. All these years I've been waiting, watching for the prince that was promised. Like, is that what you do? Another Targaryen to show up and hope that you're not the only one?
And that makes you think that he was ready to drop Maester real quick to go do what he had to do for...
Maybe not even Maester,
the
just the
prince.
wall at least, yeah.
Oh, I think he was going to go counsel, do whatever. Maybe he was still counsel guy to this prince that was promised, but he was fucking dropping his vow pretty fucking quickly to go join
he
cat.
definitely said, I needed to be with her, essentially, right? Like, I must go to her. She needs me. I need to be there. That's where I'm supposed to be.
And the last thing that I kind of want to touch on in this whole prophecy thing in general is I think it's super interesting. And George has said this before, and I think these quotes make it very clear. George has said, what's going to be more impactful in my stories than prophecies is how characters interpret and act on prophecies. And I think it's great here that Aemon's like, oh, we were so convinced. Me and Rhaegar, we thought it was him. We thought he was the prince. But then no, Rhaegar thought it was his son. But now I'm so sure those were both stupid ideas. I'm sure it's Dany. Like, okay, I bet you if I asked you when you thought it was Rhaegar, if you were sure, you were like, yeah, fuck yeah. And I bet you when you thought it was Rhaegar's son, were you sure? You were like, fuck yeah. So why do you think you're right now?
This is like those dudes that predict the end of the world, and then they're like, oh, but I miscalculated, and I forgot they added a month, and then they recalculate, and it's actually this year. And then as time goes on, over and over and over again, they become less and less trustworthy.
And I would say is the only reason you think it's her because there's another Targaryen for the first time in a while, and you didn't think there would be. I think the dragons.
So he's doing the octagon in a circle as well. Here is what you're saying.
I just think it's funny. It's not this quote that we just read, but I think it's the first quote that we read for him. He's like, no, at first we thought it was this, and that was so dumb. And then at first we thought it was this, and that was so dumb. We were such fools. The translation makes it so clear. It's clearly her. But like, okay, but is it? Like, what if she has a kid? Or you know what I mean? Like, what if this keeps going?
I mean, I think the thing that she has going for her is the dragons.
I think that's a big part.
That really is a huge like if you want to believe in prophecies, she's fulfilling them kind of with that. I think is where I'm at.
Moving on.
So, yep, please.
So after that,
one last thing I just wanted to mention, not a big point. I love just little egg sprinkle when he's like, "Will I feast in the Father's halls? Will I talk with Egg again?" Jeff said, "Will I find Daeron whole and happy, and hear my sister singing?"
So the other times he would start muttering about more dreams, a glass candle that never lit, and eggs that never hatched.
Is that just a light bulb? Do they need somebody to turn on the light switch?
Nelson thinks they're like nuclear weapons.
No.
Glass cannon? I mean, I guess that's or glass candle rather.
We've heard of this a few times, but
I know I've heard of it. Yeah.
Just let me read the quote. He spoke of dreams and never named the dreamer, of a glass candle that could not be lit and eggs that would not hatch. He said the Sphinx was the riddle, not the Riddler, whatever that meant. He asked Sam to read for him from a book by Septon Barth, whose writings had been burned during the reign of Baelor the Blessed. Once he woke up weeping. The dragon must have 3 heads, he wailed, but I am too old and frail to be one. I should be with her, showing her the way, but my body has betrayed me. So, a couple interesting things. Septon Barth mentioned that Jeff asked about him earlier. It seems, so when he says he asked Sam to read from a book by Septon Barth whose writings had been burned during the reign of Baelor the Blessed. Does that mean that this book doesn't even exist and never existed during Aemon's life?
I read that and wasn't sure either.
So you think Sam doesn't actually have the book?
It's like a famous lost book, I think. And Aemon's like, read this book. And Sam's like, this book has been burned for 200 years. You never even saw this book. This was burned before you were born.
I convinced myself that it meant that he still had some surviving books.
I think it's unclear and it could be either way.
That's what I convinced myself.
Yeah.
But you're right. That's how I read it.
I had thought they still had a copy. Like maybe every copy, like they hid it type of thing. It was hidden at the wall and nobody ever went to check to see if it was up there.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Yeah, keep going on. The glass candle didn't light.
Yeah, so the 3 things he said at the beginning are he spoke of dreams, but never named the dreamer. Glass candles that could not be lit. And let me just open my notes for glass candles. Looks like we've heard of this before in the prologue
We've
chapter.
definitely heard of it. I remember reading about it. Or that would make sense. The prologue in Old Town.
Yeah, with the maesters, exactly. Yep. I have the quote is too long, though. Let me just see. The night before an acolyte says his vows, he must stand a vigil in the vault. No lantern is permitted him, no torch, no lamp, no taper. Only a candle of obsidian. He must spend the night in darkness, unless he can light that candle. Some will try, the foolish and stubborn, those who have made a study of these so-called higher mysteries. Often they cut their fingers, for the ridges of the candle are said to be sharp as razors. Then, with bloody hands, they must wait upon the dawn, brooding on their failure. Wiser men simply go to sleep or spend their night in prayer, but every year there are always a few who must try. So,
most glass candles, it seems, don't. Seems like they've never been lit.
Yeah, it seems like they can't get lit, and that's what Aemon says here, right? Glass candle that cannot be lit.
Yep,
The Sphinx is the riddle, not the Riddler.
that's interesting.
Jeff, I hate when you say that's interesting. Do you know more about this stuff? Are we not allowed to talk more about this stuff?
No. I want to go talk to Nelson about the Sphinx and the Riddler.
Yeah, okay. That's kind of what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right.
That when I say that, Kyle, you could think about that. Maybe it's like
Yeah, save that for later, Nelson, is what
Yeah.
you're saying.
That just means Jeff probably doesn't fully remember, but he knows there's
No, I follow.
something going
Yeah.
on there.
I have ideas, but I don't. It would be throwing shit at a wall.
Well, I mean, I know the Sphinx in like for real is like thought to be like at least it's presented as having riddles in a lot of media and stuff. I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I actually looked this up earlier. I guess the first ever like real big famous story of a Sphinx is some like Greek story where a Greek guy has to try and get past the Sphinx.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Okay.
Yeah, and in the Sphinx basically to get past this like bridge or something, he riddles everybody. It's kind of like the troll thing, I guess, where like, you have to pass my riddles and he kills people, and then this guy
just
is
more
the first one passes the riddle or something.
But I guess what Aemon's saying here is more of we're looking too closely at what the Sphinx is asking and not the Sphinx itself, right? The Sphinx itself is actually the important part here.
Yeah, look at that. I mean,
but what the Sphinx is, it sounds like I don't know. It sounds like you guys might know more than I do. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it there because I don't have an idea.
The last part is the dragon must have 3 heads,
yeah.
We've heard that. Yeah.
and Aemon's too old, and that's their sigil.
Their sigil, but we've heard it in one very interesting spot before. I'm gonna
I feel like it was what was her brother's name? Probably yelled about it.
this Danny's brother Viserys.
Yeah, Viserys. Yeah, that was my guess.
The quote I have actually starts with his name, but it's not actually about him. So this is when Danny's in the house of the Undying. So that weird house where she's seen all these weird visions. So I think she basically opens a door, and the first thing that she thinks is, Viserys was the first thought the next time she paused, but a second glance told her otherwise. The man had her brother's hair, but he was taller and his eyes were dark indigo rather than lilac. Aegon, he said to a woman nursing a newborn babe in a great wooden bed. What better name for a king? Will you make a psalm for him? The woman asked. He has a song, the man said. He is the prince that was promised, and his is the song of ice and fire. He looked up when he said it, and his eyes met Dany's, and it seemed as if he saw her standing there beyond the door. There must be one more, he said. Though whether he was speaking to her or the woman in the bed, she could not say. The dragon has 3 heads. He went to the window seat, picked up his harp, and ran his fingers lightly over its silvery strings. Sweet sadness filled the room as the man and wife and babe faded into the morning mist, only the music lingering behind to speed her on her way. Thoughts on that?
Fuck, dude. So I guess my thoughts on that is we've seen 2 comments. If Jeff really wants to get into the Comet Dragon stuff again, maybe the first one was actually him, and maybe Stannis is the third one. No, probably not Stannis, but
What are you talking about? You're saying him. Who's in this vision?
Aegon. You're saying Aegon? Baby Aegon?
Yeah, wasn't that Rhaegar's kid, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Rhaegar's the one speaking mostly in this vision. Yep. And he's holding a baby Aegon in his arms.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. That was, we talked about the Red Comet earlier happening at, Jeff said the conception of this Aegon, but probably at the birth of this Aegon.
And Aemon earlier this chapter said, at first Rhaegar thought he was the prince that was promised, and then later he thought it was his own son after the comet in the sky.
So we've already seen 2 already, and before Danny, and maybe
it's just interesting that Aemon, like we already knew that Rhaegar thought Aemon was the prince of his promise. It's the quote I just read. He tells his wife he is the prince of his promise. His is the song of ice and fire. He's already got a song for him. I don't need to write one for him. And it's interesting that Aemon's like, well, first Rhaegar thought it was him. The other interesting thing that we've already heard about Rhaegar, Barristan told Dany that he was very bookish when he was a kid. But at one point he like read something in his books that he like showed up in the yard and told the master at arms like, all right, you got to train me. Turns out I got to be a warrior. So I think in hindsight with what Aemon says in this chapter, we can assume maybe he read a prophecy in his books and he's like, you know what? This is me. I got to go be the prince that was promised. Time to start training. Until something happens, he's like, "Oh fuck, it's not me," and then it's like, "It's my son," and then that's this quote I just read from that. I also think this kind of just points out to you why some of the stuff in the House of the Undying, like when you read this the first time, you're like, "What are we talking about?" And after this chapter,
I knew
it's like, "Holy shit,
sense.
this quote is so cool!"
Yeah.
Like to me, this is like a really cool quote after some of this Aemon blabber.
That was a cool prophecy. Yeah.
But yeah, so we don't got to linger on. We've kind of hammered this thing home. Let's get on going.
So Sam goes back to Jon, being mad at Jon for making him leave because Aemon died, right? But Gilly knew the truth of it all. Gilly was like, she would have burned him. She was looking for King's blood. Aemon had it. And instead of burning at the wall, he's going to burn here. But right now, he's just sitting in a cask of rum.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked.
You got to mention this earlier. Targaryens always burn their dead. They don't want to do it, though, because obviously the captain's not going to allow a fire on a wooden boat while they're at an open sea. So they stick his body in a cask of rum so Sam can burn it when he gets to Old Town.
Someone's going to drink that rum.
Probably. Why don't they get a couple empty casks and just burn him?
Hey, that's got some dragon's blood, king's blood in there. That's some good rum.
You got to put it in put him in the escape boat type of thing, or the emergency boat.
Yeah, burn
set that shit on fire and tow it along type of thing.
Like Tully style.
Figure it out.
Yeah, just a pyre, a funeral pyre at sea. Yeah, burial at sea.
Yeah.
So the other thing I'll say is when just what Jeff was covering, he said Jon knew that they would burn him. He also said Val knew they would. Melisandre was going to burn him. Kyle trivia. Who's Val?
That was Mance's sister wife.
Ooh, very close. Mance's wife's sister.
Okay.
He's not a weird Targaryen marrying a sister.
But he was like he was married to her too, wasn't he?
No.
You're right. She was like the housemaid or whatever, or not the housemaid.
Yeah.
She was
Dalla's sister.
The midwife. But yeah, she was there for the pregnancy and the birth.
Yeah.
That's
Jarl, the guy who died trying to climb the wall, was kind of like her. And they were kind of a thing, but then he fell off the wall. So
then he fell.
Yeah. Hey, he's no more.
I thought it was cool Aemon held the baby on his last night.
Yeah, and Gilly's like, I don't know about that. You don't even know where the fuck you are. You think you're like 4 years old sometimes.
You're saying a bunch of weird shit too,
yeah.
So then they talk about naming the baby.
Kind of cool too.
Maester.
Gilly just doesn't get it.
Wasn't the horse called Maester?
The donkey, donkey's called Maester. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Yeah, it's kind of funny. And they named him after Aemon, which is
there you go.
Right after they had gone and visited Aemon in Old Town. Yeah,
but they settle on Aemon Battleborn / Steel Song.
Steel Song, I think Steel Song.
But they're not actually naming him Tilly's 2.
Yeah, not Tilly's 2, obviously. Yep, kind of cool because he was born during the battle with Steel singing all around. Yep, and he was Mance Rayder's son. This is a weird quote by Sam. He said he was Mance Rayder's son.
Dude, this one's weird. There's weird as fuck.
And Craster's grandson.
This is bullshit.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah,
this is bullshit. When did we find out Dalla was a Craster wife?
I looked it up. She's not. I think Sam is saying Craster's grandson because Gilly's raising him. It's like a step grandson.
I don't like that at all.
I don't like it either. I looked it up too because when I first thought, I was like, wait, Mance or Dala is because it could have been Mance, but no,
I was
it was.
very confused,
I looked it up. Neither of them is Craster's.
I was like, wait, what the fuck? Did Mance go to Craster's Keep and like steal Dala? Like, is that how he started his campaign as King of the North? Like,
I think he's talking about like step grandpa because Gilly's raising him now. I also don't like it. It doesn't make sense.
That's so fucking stupid.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, there's no blood relation.
It made it seem like it was blood to Craster. Like, Sam, go fuck yourself with that.
Well, to be fair, they are pretending it's her baby, kind of, right? Like that was the whole point.
Yeah, that's true. But
but it's like related, like blood relation is stupid. All right, Koja is watching the baby. Koja is also a badass archer. She leads the ship's archers. I think they had a nickname. I forget what they were.
The Red Archers, I think is all they say. And they did get into a little scuffle with some pirates, and Koja killed a dozen men while Sam can't even literally land a shot on their boat. Yeah. Can't hit the boat. He's hitting water every time.
Yeah. And Sam had this recollection or realization that Gilly is, well, how the fuck did, she trusts Koja. She just met Koja to watch the baby. I haven't even, changed the diaper yet, but it's because she trusts women more in general.
Understand some of Gilly's trauma. That's what's happening here.
Yeah. Well, I think the women thing is a big part of it too. Is like literally she's known Craster, who probably wasn't great to her.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Her trauma,
all her sisters. Yeah. Well, I thought you meant that like Kojo's gone through trauma too. Kojo's a pretty cool life.
I meant Gilly. Like we're understanding more of Gilly's trauma.
Oh yeah.
Sam is understanding more of Gilly's trauma. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but basically Sam's like, Gilly just likes hanging out with girls more. It makes her more comfortable. I'm kind of the same. When I was a young boy, I liked hanging out with my sisters more. And sometimes the girls would pick on me, but getting picked on was easier to deal with than the bruises that I got when I tried to hang out with the boys. So he's like, Kojo's cool. I like hanging out with her more than her dad, but that might just be because her dad doesn't really speak the common tongue. Kojo's the only one that really does. Kohoromo, not so much. Zondo, a little bit.
He knows the word fuck.
Yeah, he loves that word. Yeah. And Gailey's like, hey, I like this rum stuff. Pretty good. Sam's
let's keep drinking. Let's keep toasting the people.
Tastes like she's like fire. Sam's like, drink for dragons, which is I think is kind of cool because Eamon's head up in it right now.
They're drinking Fireball.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're drinking Eamon rum. This is the cask. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So they drink a cup. They're doing a lot. Even if they're just doing a shot, they say drink a cup for each one, but they just say it's just a shot. A shot for Kojo, Dala's baby, then one for Gilly's baby, and then
two
after
for
that,
Eamon.
you had to do two for Eamon. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they already had one. They're probably all fucked up.
Yeah, probably already had one or two. Yeah, they're drunk. They got drunk, and it's time to take Gilly downstairs because she started feeling it.
Yeah. Sam, my head is swimming.
Sam bumps his head, and she's like, "Oh no, what happened to you?" Bam, make out session.
Yep.
All the tongue. And then her nipple was in his mouth.
Pretty much. Yep. Yeah, he's like, we can't.
We can't, but I'm tasting your mother's
She's like,
milk.
we can. Yeah, and then exactly. Then he's drinking milk out of her.
Gilly hops on. Nels, your favorite line?
And suddenly his cock was out, jutting upward from his breeches like a fat pink mast. Yeah, I don't know why people love this line.
He looks so silly standing there that he might have laughed.
Yeah, and she hopped on. I think the other one, the one that I like even better is what Jeff was saying earlier, but one of the nipples found its way between his lips. Oh, it just found its way. It was pink and hard, and when he sucked on it, her milk filled his mouth, mingling with the taste of rum, and he had never tasted anything so fine and sweet and good. Yeah. And later, he's like, I was drunk on rum and mother's milk. It's like, bro, Sam, what the fuck's wrong with you, bro?
George, what's wrong with you?
George likes
I think there was an earlier chapter where there was a weird like breast milk thing, and we went down this rabbit hole, and I was like, Kyle, trust me, there'll be a weirder breast milk moment in this book, and this is what I was talking about.
The dragons were crawling up Danny to get.
I brought it up earlier, actually.
Yeah. So definitely one of the weirder sex scenes in the books. Also, I think there's a kind of a discrepancy here. Later, Kojo says Gilly knows what this is about. It's a short-term thing. Gilly knows this. Kojo says that later. Here, Gilly's like,
I'm your wife now.
which is like, first off, a creepy ass thing to say to somebody on like a first time fuck.
They're drunk. They're drunk.
Again, they have a relationship. They've been with each other for a while, so it's actually not weird in that situation. But like, but if she knows, if Gilly really knows that Sam, like the one thing Sam can't have is a wife, that's not what you should be saying, right?
I'm attesting it to more.
Like, I'll be your salt wife type
Killed
thing.
her move.
I
Killed
think
the
it's
mood.
more of a wildling thing, a north above the wall thing. Like, all right, you're taking me right now. Like, you stole me. I'm your wife.
That's a good thought. I didn't think about it that way. You're probably right.
It
but
still
like,
means that you're her
you
wife.
gotta read the room, Gilly.
Sure. And again, I think she got too drunk and she's in her feels too.
She
Like,
is hammered too.
She's
yeah,
saying
true.
the shit that she means, but she knows can't be true.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. And even Sam's like he's thinking like, no, I said the
yes.
words, but all he says is yeah, like I'm in.
I'm too. He is actually in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is in there.
This
And-
is his first time, right? We're here for Sam losing
Yes.
his virginity here.
Yep. See, a lot of people lose their virginity. John,
Sounds
Sam,
like he did a solid job.
Yeah, got the job done. She's snoozing before him, sleeping in
Yeah.
his arms.
And other Summer Islanders are coming in to diddle too, and this is where we learn that it's their custom to diddle around death.
Yeah.
This actually isn't where we learn it. We learn it at the end when he's talking to Koja after ignoring her for like a day and a half.
I thought Sam said I thought Sam said it here.
Yeah, somewhere I think he thinks to himself that Kojo said that Sam had read somewhere
Or
in
he
a
does
book.
say that's how they mourn. Yeah, they answer death with life. You're right. I'm sorry.
And he's like, I
I
wonder
thought
if
it was later.
Kojo told Gilly what to do here. Like if he said like, yo, this is what we do. Go take Sam.
You gotta
I'll take
go
the
bang
baby.
him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Take him down.
take him down.
So now Sam's like, I gotta jump overboard.
I'm out. I'm
Nobody worse than an oathbreaker is
Yeah.
what he thinks.
And it's weird. It doesn't seem like Sam does like, I don't know. Like when I read this, like it's interesting. I didn't think about it until Kyle said it earlier, but I never really compared this to the John situation.
me neither. Does he know that John broke his oath?
No.
If he did, do you think he'd feel different?
Maybe.
And I don't know why. Because reading it, Sam definitely thinks about like, oh, I broke my oath. I should jump overboard. Like I should literally kill myself because I broke my oath right now. But for some reason, it doesn't seem like Sam's taking it as seriously as John. And maybe it's just because John knew for like 3 chapters probably that like, fuck, I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do this. I've been able to get away from doing it. And then now it's time. So maybe it was like John was really resisting where Sam was kind of just like, oh, fuck, what the hell? My dick's out
He
and you're
was
on
drunk
it right
in the
now.
moment.
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Oh, your
And he
nipples
just,
in my
and
mouth.
he just
Oh,
bumped
shit.
his head too.
and it's almost too late to do something about it because he's looking at like the lantern swaying and he's like, again, the crone always carries a lantern. He's like, the crone couldn't guide me out of this. What am I gonna do? Like I literally just gotta jump overboard. Like that's the only answer is I gotta kill myself. And I think it's a little bit later. He's like, I was always a coward, but I was never an oath breaker. So I do think he's taking it seriously, but it seems like, I don't know, I guess because it happens in such a short amount of time, it seems like he doesn't care that much, but I don't think that's actually the case. But yeah, so he somehow
Did you
wakes
just
up in his own
argue
bed.
both sides of that argument?
Yeah, I'm confused by it, I think.
Okay, I like that. All right.
I think I want to say one thing. I think if he knew that John broke his oath too, he would feel okay about it.
A little different, yeah.
It's interesting. It's somewhere in here again. It might be like later when he's working on deck and thinking about it. But it's somewhere he's like, I wish Eamon was still alive and I could talk to him about it, or John, or Pip, or Gren. It's like, shouldn't any of these guys like literally just call? Like if they weren't your friends and they were like doing their duty, like to their oath, to their word, shouldn't they just call for your death immediately?
Well, I think the two things that I want to say is that he knows the guys go to Molestown, right? So like they're kind
That's
of
what I was gonna
actively
say. He
breaking their
knows
oath.
these dudes all break their oath. Yeah.
And then he goes into like I said it in front of the heart tree with John. So then you're like pulling in the old god factor of it all, and that's why like only John matters. But again, John had done it too, and
Yeah.
John wasn't struck down by old god. A tree didn't fall on him. You know.
It's just interesting. Like he thinks he's in trouble for the vow he swore his Night's Watch, and one of the first people he wants to what should I do about this is the Lord Commander, right? Like normally that's the guy who's supposed to
Yeah.
like uphold the vow. And I get it, it's like they're
That's his
friends,
best
so I
friend.
know it's not just like that. But like when John broke his vow, he wouldn't be like, I can't wait to talk to Gior about this. You know what I mean? Like he's probably thinking, if I talk to Gior about this might not turn out well for me.
the reason Sam is here is because John stopped treating him like a friend and did Lord Commander shit.
Yeah.
Because he like took the baby without telling anybody. And like, so Sam like going to like thinking he's still a friend when the last thing he did was pretty much say,
That's true. John probably would kill Sam if John learned.
I don't
No,
know.
because
yeah,
John
I don't-
sucks.
I don't know that he
John
would
sucks.
kill him.
Is this
I
a
think he
show
would.
thing or a game or a book thing? When I think Gior is like, I can't kill everybody that sneaks off to Molestown in the night.
He's like, the
Yeah,
wall would be
some-
guarded by headless men. I think there's something similar in the books. Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
Yeah.
is what it is. You know.
Yeah, I know.
All right. So he wakes up in his own bed. Interesting.
Wake and work, Black Sam.
How do you get to his bed? How do you get to his bed?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people fucking. I think
They're like, all right,
Somebody carry him over
someone
there,
carry
it's
him
the
out.
time to get all the men out. Yep. Get all the
Yeah.
drunk men out. Get
Dylan
them back to the
time's
men's
over.
cabin. Yep.
Zonda woke him up, really excited because they got wind.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a part, I don't know if it's here, but he's like, Zondo didn't know much common tongue, but what he lacked in vocabulary, he made up for in volume.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like a huge dude. He just whipped Sam out of the river
let's
like
go.
like one handed. Sam's a big dude, right? Like, so this guy has to be huge.
Yeah, and Sam's hungover as fuck. So so everything sounds a little louder when you're
Yeah,
when you're hungover.
awful.
So, I don't know if Sam. It seems like they've been drinking a little bit of rum for their voyage, but they really opened it yesterday because of Eamon's death, right? So this is probably Sam's first
First party time. First hangover.
big liquor hangover at least, right?
First
It's
time
rough.
drinking old man rum.
It's gotta be rough.
Yeah.
So he got dressed. He starts smelling everything. It's kind of weird. He's just smelling it all.
Because he's put on his clothes that haven't been washed. It smells like
Yeah.
it's like gross.
It smells like Gilly's milk.
Everything.
Mm.
Yeah, and then Gilly's hair and milk, obviously. Yeah.
So
Which Gilly's hair can't smell that good either. It hasn't been
Yeah.
washed in just as long as your fucking clothes, Sam.
The clean smell of her hair. The clean smell of her hair.
she
he
could have
said.
got a bath at Bravo's. You don't know that.
Maybe.
But this is where we find out he's working too, right? You know, what he sold them was enough. He would have to work, and he's basically working for all four of them because Gilly is Gilly with a baby, and Eamon was dying.
I don't know. Did you mention earlier, Jeff? He sold him the books, and he was kind of broken up about it at first. He's like, I really wanted the Citadel to get those books. And
Yeah,
Zondo's
yeah.
like, don't worry. Citadel's
Yeah,
gonna
they're
get
going to
those
get them.
books.
They're just
gonna
buying them
cost
from
some money
Zondo.
now. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Gilly did try to work when she could. He avoids her all day.
Did you guys just say it while I was waiting to say that? In addition to the books that Sam's got to work.
Yes, I just said that.
Yeah. And work for 4. And Sam's like, I'm not even doing the work for 1.
Yeah, he's trying. He's scrubbing decks. He's tying knots and shit. He's doing a little bit.
They don't seem too mad or worried about Sam not pulling his weight, though, right? Like,
Yeah.
it seems like he's trying good enough.
It's
yeah.
an effort
They
thing.
just like his company,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Black Sam, right? Is that what they call?
Black Sam, which is funny because they're all black, right? They're all
Yeah.
they're all samurai. Sam's the only white one.
Yeah,
They call him
yeah,
Black
yeah.
Sam.
Yeah, it is pretty funny, yeah. I thought the same thing.
He avoids her all day, and the only person he can ask for advice is Zondo, and he knows if he did, he would just say to go fuck her again. So he didn't. And we learned that the Swan ships are pretty cool, big and nice, but they're slow as shit with no wind. But they have the wind now. But I guess in other days they're just sitting.
So again, there's probably like a real life parallel to this that I'm not understanding, but they don't have oars, right? So they're fucked if there's no wind, which is, I think Sam doesn't say that, but he's like, if there's no wind, we're fucked. If there
Yeah.
is wind, we're faster than everybody.
Yeah.
But I take that to mean like we're no oars, so we're maybe low in the water or whatever. But yeah, and they had no wind. I also think this is interesting, right? If you're going with the whole like gods, why are we becalmed until like what is Aemon's death? What stops the becalming? Is Sam fucking Gilly what stops the
I
becalming?
knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
Hey,
yeah.
hey, when you're going for theories, there's anything's there, but because he wakes up the next morning, hey, wind's up, Sam. Wind's up like your
Like
dick's up.
his fat pink mask. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And finally Zondo traps him, and he's like, yo, you got to go talk to Koja.
Yeah, he's been avoiding Gilly.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a me.
Successfully.
I can relate to this. Like, fuck, I embarrass myself. I shame myself. You just got to avoid eye contact.
I can't do anything about this.
Yeah, just avoid eye contact and pretend it just resolves itself, even though it
Yeah.
won't. It's just going to get more and more awkward over time, right? If you just think about it for half
They're
a
on a
second.
boat. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Koja basically tells him, like, look, there's land. Get off, swim. You can walk either way you want to. Good luck.
Yeah.
Or you can go talk to Gilly.
yeah, that's Dorn. Desert scorpions, that's it. It's either that or go talk to Gilly. And Sam's like, you don't understand. Like,
I can't. I said vows. I can't have her.
yeah. Well, you don't understand what we did last night. She's like, last night you did what everybody fucking else did. You celebrated the dead and you celebrated the gods that made you. And she has this cool quote. I feel like we heard this same shit from like Shataya already, or like Aliyaya, something similar, where it's like the gods made our bodies to like be celebrated.
They're Summer Islanders too, right?
Who gives a fuck? Yeah.
Yeah. So like legs to run with, noses to smell with. Like what kind of god would give you eyes and tell you to keep your eyes closed the whole time? Like that's a cruel god. And she grabs his dick. And it's like, God gave you this for a reason.
Start using
What's your Westerosi word? Fucking. Zava says. And she's like, oh yeah, fucking. That and making babies. She's like, and there's no shame in either of those things. So like, what's your problem? And Sam's like, I took a vow, no wife, no children. I said the words. And she's like, she knows what you said. She knows what you're doing. Why are you going to Old Town? She knows all of it. She doesn't want you forever. She just wants you for a little bit.
On this boat, yeah, because nobody else is here.
Yeah.
You're all she's got.
Or swim or go to Gilly. Make up your mind. And Sam looks at the shoreline. He's like, ah, fuck. I can't make that. He's like, I can't make that. So it says he went to Gilly.
I can't swim.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty much kill yourself or go to Gilly, which, I mean, he had already thought, right?
About killing himself, yes.
I was going to say, yeah, that's kind of put him back in that position.
Yeah, and I think it's on purpose. I wish George would have made, I think this part right here is why I think Sam wasn't too concerned about it. I wish George would have made it a little bit like Sam consider actually killing himself here, or at least trying to swim.
They find him by the rail or something at
Yes.
some point. Yeah.
Sam's like, that was too far. He went to Gilly. It's like literally how it goes. I wish it was like it was too far, but still, a real man of the Night's Watch would, you know what I mean? Just like one more sentence, I feel like would have made me. But yeah, he goes to Gilly. He's like Gilly, if I could, it'd be you, girl. But you know how the deal is. I can't. I said the words with John in the woods in front of a heart tree. And Gilly, being a wildling, is like, hey, the trees, like she's probably all about heart trees.
Ain't no trees here,
Yeah,
girl.
oh, yeah, for sure. I know. I was just laughing at what she says at the end. Exactly. Yeah, where she's like, but look, man, no trees can see us.
Yeah,
like,
no trees here.
We're good, man.
Only water.
No, I think I think you're right though. I think she needs comfort in this time, and it's kind of part of that, right? Like, I don't think there's much harm, and as long as they're both on the same page, and it seems like they are. So this is cool, I guess, for Sam, right?
Yeah. I love this chapter. Again, I think it's a conflicting chapter because we get so much dropped about the Prince that was promised stuff that we spend a lot of time on at the top of the chapter.
Well, that's definitely the prophecy part. Like, I mean, that's the part to talk about and expound, extrapolate and talk a lot about.
But it's also super. I feel like it's a bittersweet chapter because Aemon dies, right? So it's like the whole chapter has this like
He's
sad.
been dying.
He was gonna die.
He's been dying for one chapter. Like,
I
no,
should have
he
known he
hasn't
was.
been.
No, I should have known he was dead. Like at the beginning.
They've
of the book.
literally been preparing
That's
for his
not
death
true.
for a long time.
That's how
They're
I
like,
open
you're
this.
gonna die at some point.
He's been fine until the end of
He was
Sam
not
2,
fine
Feast of
when he
Crows.
left, man.
He's
He was
literally
not fine when he
blind.
left. Yeah.
He's been dropping knowledge bombs on
He's
people
102.
all series long.
He's 102.
And Sam says he would have lasted 10 more years at the wall. So I don't know. You mean you should have seen that he was going to die before
That's
he left
because
the
the
wall.
ice preserves. You know that, Nelson.
I mean, Sam also was lying to himself because you believe what you want to believe, like Eamon said.
That's true.
So
But-
I don't know that he was in great shape, Nelson. I think you're reading a lot into that, and I think this dude was kind of had it written all over him that he was dying soon anyway. And like I'm not saying that it's like it doesn't suck to lose Eamon, but I'm not surprised. And like I said earlier, I should have assumed that he didn't make this voyage. Like, he's a fucking old ass man.
I don't know. It's just I wish our heroes and Sam said because he is a hero. He's a hero. He's no less heroic than the Aemon that he was named after, who was Aemon the Dragon Knight. But it's like Ned gets beheaded after just like surrender, like, you know what I mean, like confessing to everything that he's against, like just basically saying I have no honor. Joffrey's the real king, but beheaded. George Mormont, awesome dude, killed by his own men in a mutiny at Crasser's Keep. Like, the guys that we love that should have like a hero's death have like a shitty death. And Aemon's, I see him in the same way. And here he is in the fucking middle of the Narrow Sea on a ship
Dying
with
on a
fucking
boat.
Sam dying on a boat. Like, he should be burning. Fuck it. Let him burn. I don't care. Let Melisandre burn his ass and let him be giving Jon great counsel up until he does. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm sure he preferred this way. And that's what Gilly says. There's a part in here where Gilly's like, if you would have left him there, he would have burned. Now he just went to sleep and he never woke up. Like, it was peaceful. Maybe I'm being selfish. Maybe I want him to have a more heroic death. Aemon had the death that he probably deserved. Again, he wanted to get to Dany or to to Old Town. But yeah, to me, it's a sad one.
He's
I don't
too old
like
for
it.
that, man. He would have never made it there either.
He's the closest thing we have to Egg, I guess, in the main
Yeah,
books.
that's Nelson's problem.
Yeah. We don't get
There
anybody
it
talking about
is.
Egg anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's exactly back to the Dunkin' Egg. So, all right. Well, yeah, that's kind of where it leaves off here. So, I mean, I think they're gonna. I hope they get there soon. I don't know that we need another boat chapter. That's kind of the interesting part that died, right?
Yes. Amen. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Old Town's gonna be interesting. That seems like a cool city. Although we're almost at the end of this book, so I guess we don't get too much more of that.
Wouldn't it be fitting though? Prologue, and then towards the end we finally wrap up. Start in Old Town, end in Old Town type thing.
I guess so. Yeah.
Maybe we'll
Makes
get there.
sense.
Who knows?
Yeah, but I mean that would suck that it's only one chapter. Is what I'm saying.
I mean, we only got like 6. I think we got like 10 left.
That's what I'm saying. Those are the words that I'm saying. You're translating what I'm saying. I guess.
Gotcha. So, pointed question. We talked a lot
Okay.
about it. Is Stannis the prince that was promised?
No, I don't think Stannis is.
Is Aemon right? Is Danny?
I think if
the prince that was
anything,
promised?
Danny makes way more sense. Did anything else, I guess, happen the same time that those eggs hatched, like with Stannis?
So Salt and Smoke. Again, let's talk about what we know from the prophecy. Salt and Smoke, Dragons from Stone, Lightbringer. Danny definitely doesn't have a flaming sword, but Dragons from Stone. I think you're on it. A lot of fans say this is the Stone Egg. Again, I will say there are you can find theories in the fandom for everybody. You can find Hot Pie as the prince that was promised. You can find
Patchface.
Probably Patch. I guarantee you. Yeah, everybody that is it. Like we said, there's 6,000 characters, whatever in this book. There's a theory for every single one of them being prince that was promised. Even the random guard on the door. So fans love to take this one and run with it. But I think you're right. Danny is one of the top contenders. People like the Stone Eggs thing that you said earlier. I think Salt and Smoke. Smoke's easy, right? If we're talking about her rebirth at the time the dragons are burned, is a fire. Salt's tricky. You could say Tears, who's really crying at that point though. But when Danny was born, she was born on Dragonstone, which is a volcano in the sea. But then that applies to Stannis kind of too, right? Stannis is the Lord of Dragonstone. So again, people like this theory. They love it, and it kind of shows what George has said, that what matters more in the books isn't really the prophecy. Not to say that there's no meat to the prophecy, but what matters more is what characters think about them and how they react to them. Which I think Jeff I think the Red Comet is a good a small example of that. How everybody thinks of something, the exact same thing as something different, and maybe not acts on it, but sometimes makes huge moves based on those types of beliefs, like what Melisandre and Stannis are doing, right? So.
All right, let's wrap her up.
So, who is it, Kyle?
What do you mean? I'm on the Danny so far. I guess that's the one that makes sense to me because
you didn't get convinced by Hot Pie. Even though I didn't give
I'm
you
convinced
the evidence
by
for
the
it?
dragon. So if I have all the information I have currently, and who's got the most pieces of it, Danny. That's kind of I guess my.
And just
answer.
think, if she dies, it could move on to somebody else. If you're
There we go.
Yeah,
Next
exactly.
one up.
That's
Exactly.
Jeff. I love Jeff's new take on it. Yeah, it's like you don't even have to be right. Like your original prophecy can just fizzle out, and you're all right. You can move on to the next.
I don't want to hammer out, so I'll just mention it. Yeah, I think that's a major point of this chapter. Is Aemon literally says, "Oh, we thought it was Rhaegar, but no, then we thought it was Rhaegar's son. Oh, but now I'm so sure. We were such idiots before. Now it's definitely Danny. It's like, okay." I wonder.
Danny has dragons.
I would have loved to see what Aemon thought when he thought it was Rhaegar and when he thought it was Aemon's son. Was he any less sure than he is now? But yeah, so I've said it before.
Like I said, Danny has dragons. That's where I'm at.
Danny
on that,
has
so.
dragon.
What's the next chapter? I didn't even see it. Who we back to?
It is
Cersei?
Cersei.
Oh God, what's going on? I keep saying.
Just kidding. Cersei's entertaining
Yeah.
as fuck.
We'll see Kyle on that one for Cersei
7.
8.
No.
Cersei 8.
Cersei 8.
See Kyle on next one for Cersei 8. See the rest of you guys in the spoiler section. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later, nerds.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Bye, Kyle.
Bye, Kyle. Thanks for hanging out with us.
See you on the next one for Cersei 8. Now on to the spoiler section. Jeff, what we got?
All right, so a couple quick things. Obviously, we think that the horn is the horn that could break the wall.
Sam's horn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jormun's horn. Which is interesting because for some reason people always say the horn that'll bring the wall down, but what we've actually heard of Jormun's horn is I think it'll say the horn that wakes giants from their graves. That's what we've actually heard. Not that it brings down the wall. I don't know where that came from.
And then they will break the wall.
Some people think that means waking the stone, that the crypts, the stone statues in the crypts will actually come to life and
Harry Potter style.
Harry Potter style, exactly. Yeah, some people.
Interesting.
People have no idea.
So they're just holding on to that, and then we got statue of Ned. That's how Ned Stark comes back.
There you go.
Then he gets back with statue Ned Stark gets with zombie cat happily ever after.
How about statue Ned Stark fights with Ned Stark's bones?
Ooh,
which came back
who
as
wins?
a white
Statue definitely wins.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's get into the. I think we did a lot on the comment. Do you have any like spoilers of what I said about like when we really dived into like me saying that the red comet during Aegon's conception? It's just,
I don't think we know much. Yeah, okay. That's all I know.
So the dreams without naming the dreamer. It was weird.
It's a weird line. Like to me, the dreamer doesn't seem. If you're talking about dreams, it doesn't seem important who the dreamer is. So, like the dream should be more important, I guess. So that one's weird.
So he also said his brother's dream. So like I think there's a big difference between Daron, who was a green dreamer, and Egg, who dreamed that he was going to burn Summerhall down and.
Well, who knows? Egg might have started getting dreams like that. The other thing is, Aerion, his other brother, drank wildfire. Was that why is that? Just because he's all the
Targaryens are just getting weird dreams at some point in their life?
Well, him getting a dream that convinces him that if he drinks wildfire, he'll become a dragon seems more likely than him just like coming to that conclusion on his own someday. Like
maybe, yeah.
Where would that come from if not some weird dream or prophecy, right? So
do you know of Egg having a dream that it could be Egg, or do you think it's a Daron dream that he speaks of?
I think the biggest. I think he's probably talking about Egg, and I think the biggest kind of like spoiler / hint to this is, and we were actually just talking about this in the Discord recently with some of the fans. This is House of the Dragon. Like without House of the Dragon, you have no idea that there's a Song of Ice and Fire before Rhaegar, or a Prince that was promised thought before Rhaegar. Now that's literally in a dragon, in the dagger that everyone has known since Aegon. At least from Aegon to Viserys, everyone's known. A lot of people think it gets lost somewhere. Right. With Balon burning.
Well, they stopped naming their kids Aegon.
People think it's when Balon the Blessed burns all these books. He basically burns all the books about dragons, including Septon Barth's, which is kind of, again, mentioned here. People think that's where this prophecy kind of gets lost, and it comes back up again later on. Again, we don't have to get too far into it. We hear of one of the other kings, the king. He was actually king during some of the Dunk and Egg books. Aerys the First, not Aerys the Second's the Mad King. Aerys the First was very bookish, and I think he was reading. Egg mentioned something about him reading prophecies about the return of the dragons, which people think because he's a very bookish king, is kind of the one that rediscovers this prophecy, and it kind of comes back up from there on out. But in terms of the Prince of His Promise stuff, again, there's some more stuff that comes up in Dance of Dragons. Yeah. We'll get to that when we get to it.
We're just at the tip of that iceberg. I think there's other stuff that we could talk about here.
The main thing I want to point out to you, though, that I do like, and I feel like I'd never really realized until we did the read-through for this podcast is, and maybe I've mentioned this to you, is what's the big Ned and Lyanna thing? What does Lyanna tell Ned?
Promise me.
And what do people think that's about?
Protecting Jon.
So Jon is...
Rhaegar's son.
Well, and he's the prince.
Prince that was promised.
Right? So, again, and that's the one thing that I think for the Prince of His Promise that we didn't talk about with Kyle. Dany is a huge one. A lot of other people think Jon, right? It's interesting because Kyle has proposed.
Well, I mean, we can't tell Kyle.
But Kyle has proposed that the Jon is Rhaegar and Lyanna's son. He's said that.
Did he say that?
I don't think he said it with a ton of conviction. He's like, you know what, this might be possible. But I think he was kind of onto it. But again, we didn't say, oh yeah, you're right on that. You know what I mean? So. But I think it's hard to
which I'm not blaming
and we don't know, and I'm not blaming Kyle for not remembering that in this chapter.
Yeah.
But I think the other big prince that was promised name that we didn't mention at all is Jon, and that's because we didn't want to obviously drop that for Kyle. But I think the thing that makes Jon interesting is he's literally the prince that was promised, right? With the whole what I said with the Lyanna thing, I never realized that. Like the whole if you read book 1, all the Ned chapters, the whole promise me Ned is a huge thing.
Sure.
And then if Jon's actually a prince,
but then like, how do you fill the rest of like salt and smoke? Like that doesn't make much sense.
So people think there's actually a lot of. So when Jon gets stabbed at the end of Dance of Dragons,
There's a lot of fog.
his stab wounds are smoking. It's probably actually steam, but like literally within the paragraph that Jon gets stabbed, there's the smoke. They call his wounds smoking. It's steam, but they say smoke. I forget what the salt is, but there's a mention of salt.
And a salty tear rolls down his face.
I forget what the salt is. There's definitely a salt line though, and the George. I don't know if you remember this. George is a genius. I probably told you this before because you're an Eagles fan. George had a bet with one of his friends about it was a football bet.
Right, you've told me this too.
And it was like a Giants Cowboys thing. Yeah. And if the Giants won, he could put a giant killing a cowboy. And if the Cowboys won, he would put a cowboy killing the giant. I think the Cowboys won. So he had to put this guy, I forget his name, but he basically has the star sigil. He has the cowboy sigil.
Mm-hmm.
And he is in Stannis' army and he kills a dragon, or not a dragon, a giant during the attack on the wall. Or he basically like runs one down and stabs it in the back. Like George makes it clear that it's very like not a one-on-one fight. It's dishonorable type thing. And again, this is because I think he had to make this cowboy killing this giant as part of him losing a bet. But then later, he basically has the giant fuck up this cowboy and the cowboy's bleeding, which is a bleeding
star.
So, and in this quote, Aemon says, "We thought the comet was a bleeding star." So it's literally all in the paragraph that Jon gets stabbed is his wound was smoking. I forget what the salt is. It might have been tears. And yeah, there's like the phrase like bleeding star is used, I think, to describe this guy who died. So
yeah,
I think people who try and go Azor Ahai Jon will point to those three things is where that gets satisfied, which I kind of really like because again, George tied because he's a Giants fan. He somehow tied him losing a bet about the Giants into one of the biggest like plot points like in all of A Song of Ice and Fire.
Which is telling me not to look too far into it.
I mean, you're not a Giants fan, but like you have to, as a football fan in general, you have to love that.
I like
that's so
Easter
cool.
eggs.
Yeah, that is if that's true, that's so cool. So I think that's where that one comes from. Yep.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I don't have too much more to talk about the Prince that was promised. Obviously, that'll come up a few times in Dance.
All right. Glass candle never lit. What's that mean?
I mean, the glass candles that we know haven't been lit so far, but what we hear, I think, soon is the glass. I think Quaithe tells Dany the glass candles are burning now, which kind of the way you were saying earlier. Is that related to the dragons coming back?
Yeah, eggs never hatch. Are we about to hatch more dragons?
Yeah, I think he's talking about things that
or is that
happened that are now happening,
or is it metaphorically speaking that there's more dragons like Phaegon, Aegon?
Oh, maybe.
John. Like, those are all dragons hatching, right? Like,
that's true. Yeah, because that's kind of how there's a prophecy in the third Duncan Egg book, the Mystery Knight. There's a dragon that's going to hatch at this tournament. And John the Fiddler thinks he's going to win the tournament, win the dragon's egg, and the dragon's going to hatch. Guy. But really, it turns out that everyone finds out that Egg's a Targaryen. The dragon hatching turns out to be Egg revealing himself.
I thought it was isn't a Blackfire?
We find out that John the Fiddler is also a Blackfire. But I think
I thought it was more John the Fiddler than
I think... Because that's the one we find Bloodraven. We actually meet Bloodraven at the very end. And I think Bloodraven says, like, oh, you dreamed of an egg hatching? And he, like, looks at Egg.
I gotcha.
So.
The Sphinx is a person, right?
The Sphinx is a person.
Isn't it a maester?
It's a novice at the Citadel.
Is it Jaqen?
It's not. Jaqen
or
killed
is it
Pate.
It's a Dorne person?
It's Alaris.
Yeah.
Who is really
why? And
Sorella.
her nickname is the Sphinx, right?
So yeah, women are allowed to go to the Citadel. So Alaris is a male novice.
Yeah.
Who's really Sorella Sand, Oberyn's bastard daughter dressed up as a man.
I remember, but they call her Sphinx, right?
Yes, because Oberyn's Dornish and her mom, I think, is a Summer Islander.
Oh.
They call her the Sphinx because she's kind of like a mixed parentage, right? Like mixed background. So that's kind of like where that comes from. So I think it's when he says the Sphinx is, and Kyle is, and what I said to Kyle is true. There is like, I guess like I never knew this. I looked this up. I guess like in just mythology, a Sphinx is kind of known as being like a character that gives you riddles and stuff.
Interesting. Well, how the fuck would Aemon know about Sorella?
I have a huge problem with this, or not a problem, but I think this points to Sorella being super important.
Right. It has to.
Aemon's talking about Prince It Was Promised, dragons. Glass candles are a little off off topic of Prince was
because
promised, but still
he
it's
would
in
have
the
had
prophecy.
to have tried to light one, right? Like he sat in a room that tried to light one, or
Yeah.
sat there. So
Like if I give you a list of everything, like if I give you like a 5 by 5 square with 25 things on it, and they're all like mysticky things that Aemon mentioned in this one, like dreams, dragons, Lightbringer, Prince was promised, the Sphinx, and I'm like, hey, which one of these things doesn't go with the others?
Yeah.
The answer is the Sphinx. What does this have to do
'cause
with
he has
anything else that we're talking about?
And he has no knowledge of this person being there. It's a novice. She's only been there, what, 8 years?
He's been at the wall the whole time she's alive. Yes.
Yeah.
So I have no problems with him getting dreams about her. My problem is, why is he getting dreams about her? If Bloodraven is sending this guy visions, he's like, yo, this guy, if Bloodraven's like, this guy finally gets it, let me send this guy fucking visions. What the fuck is he sending visions about the Sphinx for?
That's the way to get the Targaryens back on the throne, is by teaming up with Dorne. I don't
know the answer, but it definitely ties into Lemongate, is all I have to say. It has to do with Dany being from Dorne,
Lemongate doesn't
not
matter.
Braavos.
Lemongate doesn't. I know you really care about Lemongate, but Lemongate doesn't matter. Well, who gives a fuck if she was in Dorne or Braavos? It doesn't matter.
I don't know why it matters, but you're wrong.
No.
Moving on. That's my favorite theory. Don't crush my favorite theory.
I think you could like the theory and it be true, but it also doesn't.
It doesn't have to be. You're right, because the current story is it was all in Braavos, and Doran still has secret plans with Dany.
Yeah,
right? He still has the plan to.
I think if you want to again pull Dorne and Lemons, and why does Bloodraven care about Solera? Is because he knows that Dany needs Dorne to end up winning, would be my whole deal, right? So that's why she was in Dorne while they were being hidden, because they started this whole plan. That's why now, like, as Dany's off there, not knowing that it was Dorne, right? She's in this whole I was in Braavos deal, and like the Dornish people are coming to woo her, right?
Sure. I mean, that makes a ton of sense. But I feel like the only reason that I like what you're saying is because of what we heard in House of the Dragon, where like we heard something that, like, there must be a Targaryen on the throne that unites all seven. Like, I don't think we've heard that in the books.
Sure.
So like, do we need Dorne? Why does Dany, like, I don't know.
Sure, I don't know.
But I don't hate that.
A lot of it I
don't
get
hate it
confused
idea. I just feel like most of the evidence that makes me like what you're saying. I do like what you're saying,
Like,
but I
if
feel like most of the
Bloodraven-
reason is only show only is why.
If Bloodraven's seeing the future and he knows that to win the war, Dany needs the Dornish, right? Like, I guess that's how and why he would send Aemon this stuff. But like, Sam is gonna get to Old Town and be like, "Oh, your name's the Sphinx." That's fucking weird.
The reason I think it could be important is because, again, it's messy because of what happened with Quentin, but it could be important because where we're at in the story now, Arianne is going to meet with Fagon.
Yeah.
If those two hook up and Dany shows
Right.
up and Fagon and Dany are not on the same side,
Well,
then she
Dany
doesn't
just
have
burned. Dany just burned them all down.
and hey, Doran, what's up? I'm here. Sorry, your son accidentally got burned by my dragons, but hey,
Yeah.
you should still back me up. Oh,
Right.
you're already on the side of another Targaryen?
Man, I'm not even ready for all those chapters. There's some weird shit that happens in Essos.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's interesting. I don't know what's going to go on, but yeah, I think that Sphinx is interesting because to me it really sticks out as not relating at all to Targaryens or anything dragon related, and it doesn't fit in with the rest of what he's talking
Or
about.
even
So-
why Aemon would be thinking about it. All right,
Exactly.
The dragon must have 3 heads. I know you think like Tyrion's going to be the 3rd head of the dragon.
I don't know. I think Aegon John. I like Aegon John Dany. I think that's too clear cut for what, like, if you're reading the book at very face.
Aegon.
Yeah, like Aegon is not a Fagon. Yeah, no, Aegon is not.
Fagon
He's
is
actually
Aegon.
Rhaegar's son.
I kind of like that.
I kind of like it too. Jon is Rhaegar's son. We have another one of Rhaegar's son, and we have Dany, who's like their aunt, is the 3 heads.
And then we have a civil war.
I don't hate that, but I think most people are hard set on Fagon is Fagon.
Yeah.
So if he's not one of the heads,
The other thing is,
do you need 3 heads? What, I don't even know what that means. Are the 3 dragons 3 heads by themselves?
right. I was going to say this, but I didn't say it around Kyle because I didn't want to give him ideas, which maybe I should have. But like, he probably thinks, all right, the dragon has 3 heads. There's literally 3 dragons right now, right? But if we think about it more as people, this is the only time where we're really searching for 3 Targaryens. Every other time there's been Targaryens galore, right? They've just been everywhere. So there's been way more than 3 dragons on the head. So
Yeah.
it's confusing me what it actually means too. Is it, do 3 people need to do a certain thing? Aegon and the 2 sisters, is that where it started? It's kind of like the Sith. There always 2 there are, but there's a couple times when there was Palpatine, Dooku, Maul, and Grievous, right? Like that's way more than 2.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. I'm trying to find it. I don't have the full quote. Damn it. I cut it off too early. Basically, so I read the quote from The House of the Undying with Kyle, when Kyle was here. In the next Dany chapter, she talks to Jorah about some of this. But really the main thing that sticks with her is the Prince was promised thing. Dany cannot let it go. His is the Song of Ice and Fire, my brother said. I'm certain it was my brother, not Viserys, Rhaegar. He had the harp with silver strings. Sir Jorah frowned deepened until his eyebrows came together. Prince Rhaegar played such a harp. You saw him? She nodded. There was a woman in bed with a babe at her breast. My brother said the babe was a prince that was promised and told her to name him Aegon. Prince Aegon was Rhaegar's heir by Elia of Dorne, Sir Jorah said. But if he is the prince that was promised, that promise was broken along with his skull when the Lannisters dashed his head against the wall. I remember, Dany said sadly. They murdered Rhaegar's daughter as well. The little princess, Rhaenys she was named, like Aegon's sister. There was no Visenya, but he said the dragon had 3 heads. What is the Song of Ice and Fire? So here, Dany is saying that she thinks the 3 heads are in reference to
3 children.
The original Aegon the Conqueror and Rhaenys, because she says Rhaenys, she was named like Aegon's sister, referring to the Conqueror's sister, thinking that hey,
John.
Well, but Rhaegar was probably anticipating a third, not a son, a daughter.
Sure.
Right. Rhaegar thinks he's basically recreating Aegon for the first time.
Yeah.
So he had a daughter named Rhaenys. He has a son. He's like, name him Aegon. We're recreating this shit.
Yeah.
But then his wife can't. We basically hear that after Aegon, Elia's 2.
So he needs to find another girl. But then he has John.
And people think that he convinced Elia of this. That Elia was. People think that Elia of Dorne was on board with this. And
we talked about that.
Yeah, let's go get Lyanna. I'm on board. Let's make another new one. And this is why some people, and I kind of like this too. I would have to figure out how it actually works. I don't know if it's possible. I like if Dany is somehow the baby of Rhaegar and Lyanna.
Yeah, you've mentioned that to me too. Maybe off pod.
Yeah, I think that would be cool somehow. I don't know if it works out.
I don't think the timeline works out.
I would have to dig deeper into it, but I think that's kind of interesting because then that would be the Visenya.
Dany was young when these babies.
She's at pretty much the same age as Jon, exactly. Yeah, so I think age-wise it works out, but
younger than Aegon and Rhaenys.
Well, I think the biggest problem if Dany is R plus L equals D, I think the biggest problem with that theory is what happened to Rhaella's baby. Like Dany's mom was pregnant.
Yeah.
Right? We knew Aerys II, his wife, was pregnant. So if Dany came from Rhaegar and Lyanna, okay, fine. But what happened to the baby that came from her? Yeah. Is that Fagon?
Who's John?
Is that Jon?
Is John with the
There's too many babies at that time that exactly. You
too big of a rabbit hole. All right, Sam never tasted anything so sweet.
Sweet. I don't have anything for it. It's weird. Sam likes the mother's milk. Well, he's also breaking his vow.
I'm
the
just
sweetness is making him break his vow.
And it's just not going to go well. Like something's going to go. This like marriage to Gilly, not good.
I feel like there was a few of these in this chapter that I missed. But what about this one? This is in one of the Aemon quotes we read.
Okay.
For all these years, I've lingered, waiting, watching, and now that the day has dawned, I'm too old. I'm dying, Sam.
That's crazy. I didn't write it down too.
So. And I kind of mentioned this to Kyle. If Dany's the prince that was promised, where's Lightbringer? That's the biggest thing that she's missing. However, someone mentions to her. This is one of the things that I looked up in the non-spoiler because I thought it was something that was mentioned to her previously, but it's not. It's something that's mentioned to her in Dance of Dragons. Someone tells her that her dragons are a flaming sword that she holds above the world. So a lot of people think the dragons are actually Lightbringer.
That's stupid.
I don't know.
I need the Dane sword.
Yeah, I like Dawn too, but again, it's because we read every freaking Dawn quote because I'm pretty much convinced Dawn is Lightbringer. But that's because I've convinced you Dawn is Lightbringer. But what if it's not?
Well,
Right?
let's
What if
just
the
say like
dragons are
maybe
Lightbringer?
maybe all three heads need to be a part of Nisa Nisa. So Danny has the dragons. John, who could be, I don't know, not part dairy anymore, but he could have Dawn, and then, or maybe the third person is Dawn because he already has fucking the Valyrian Steward. He already has. I don't know. I don't know. All this stuff is getting too complex.
Yeah, and I don't think the three heads of the dragon. To me, the three heads of the dragon doesn't mean three dragon riders because I think we're gonna lose a dragon to Euron somehow.
Yeah, I do think we have to lose a dragon, whether it's to Euron or to the Whites.
To the Whites, yeah. So I don't think we're gonna have three dragon riders on the good guys' side. So that's where the three heads of the dragon kind of falls apart to me. What does that actually mean? If it doesn't mean we have three dragon
And
riders,
does it mean to the prophecy? Like, do you need three to like? It's weird. Yeah, I don't think you need three Targaryens to complete the prophecy, right? You need somebody to kill somebody.
It's interesting because, like Kyle said, what's the prophecy? We don't know. We've heard people mention it. The only two times we've heard anything about three heads is in the House of the Undying. And again, that quote is crazy. That especially the three heads part. He says he has a song. His is this is Rhaegar talking about Aegon. He has a song. He is the prince that was promised, and his is the Song of Ice and Fire. He looked up when he said it, and his eyes met Dany's, and it seemed as if he saw her standing beyond the door. There must be one more, he said. Though whether he was speaking to her or to the woman in the bed, she could not say. The dragon has three heads. So in this vision, Rhaegar's is like, bang, onto Dany.
Yeah,
there must be one more. Wall. The dragon has three heads.
He broke the fourth wall.
Right, so that's weird, right?
That's weird for sure.
That's the only other time besides this chapter where Aemon's like, "Oh, three heads. We thought it was blah 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 or whatever it was," right? Like,
yeah.
So that's weird. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have any answers. Again, we'll get more of it in Dance of Dragons.
All right, I have one more.
Go ahead. I don't got anything.
What kind of god gives you eyes and keeps them shut?
And Aemon's blind.
Aemon's blind. Bran has a third eye that had to get open, right? Like,
yeah.
I think that line carried a lot of weight for even like Bloodraven had one eye, right? Like it's like eyes is weird, and I think it's an old god thing for sure.
I guess the thing that I never thought of is like a lot of people say that Bran has extra powers because like one door closed so another door opened, right? He lost his legs so he got his third eye. Well, maybe Aemon lost his eyes
to gain
and opened his third eye, and that's when these dreams. Maybe he wasn't really getting these dreams till he went blind, right? Because he wasn't blind when he was a child. I don't think.
Yeah.
So
I didn't think about that so much as like it with all this like why would you be able to have legs and be able to run type of thing. It's like, oh well, now you throw in eyes, and it's like I don't know. It just it's
like the whole seeing third eye, and we're talking about Aemon's death is a huge thing in this chapter, and he's blind. Like, why would a god give a man eyes and then not let him to see? And here we have Aemon, a man that has eyes and can't see. Yeah, I like it. I that one perked me up too, but I can see this chapter. I think this chapter is one of the great ones because it definitely links. Like, the reason I feel like we talk so much about the Prince that was promised is because we've heard that term probably 6 times at this point. But just in passing, like, Stannis is the prince that was promised, born amid salt and smoke. He is the prince that was promised. His is the Song of Ice and Fire. Like, we've heard it enough with like a tagline each time, but here Aemon basically mentions it and all the taglines, so we can kind of tie them all together. So, and I feel like if we learn more, the more we learn about the prince that was promised in Azor Ahai, the more some of the stuff Aemon says here will make sense. So. Yeah, I think I've said it a bunch on this podcast. I feel like Feast of Crows is going to be the book that benefits the most when Winds comes out. Like, when Winds comes out, I think Feast might be the first book I reread.
Is that what we're reading right now? Yeah.
Feast of Crows, yep. And not for much longer, but
all right.
That's all I got.
Let's wrap it up.
What you got?
That's it.
Nothing else?
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you guys in the next one for Cersei 8. Yeah, that's it. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Like, subscribe.